Welcome back, travelers, to another episode of the Heroes of Hearth-Gate. We don't really have. Do we have anything to say before we start, guys? Anyone have anything to want to toss out there? Things we're working on for the show?
Well,
content for people. Sorry.
By way of announcement, we're not actually filming today. We are just going to give you a little teaser to say, haha, got you. And so, will Corey actually kill everybody off today, or will Derelict and we run off and start their own little campaign? Who knows? Find out next time.
And now we're starting. I don't know. Is that what's going on?
I don't know what's going on anymore.
All right. I say we just
chaos is what's happening.
We're gonna recap and hand out some inspiration from last time. Inspirations are going to drum roll, please. Don't have to hit the table because it's our microphones. Or everyone hit the table.
You said it too late.
The inspiration from last time is going to we.
Yes.
What for? Yes.
You have to watch last episode to find out what for.
What? She's like, I was there. Was I?
The indignation.
Was I?
Anyway, last time we met our, we can call you heroes now, had come across a traveling caravan in the woods on their way to a city called Meladir, looking for a map, following a clue, and a whole bunch of other stuff that no one's really talked about yet, but that's beside the point. You're in the forest, and you come across this cart where these horrible gray-skinned creatures you later discovered, or remembered, were called Grimlocks, were attacking an unarmed woman after murdering the rest of the caravan, saving her life, and before she passed out due to blood loss and adrenaline, had said they stole her child, and went that away, and you guys are like, okay, we're going to do it, and ran off into the woods. You ran off into the woods, crossed through some random, not maintained farmland, encountered some scarecrows, got to a fort, fought a lot more of these Grimlocks, made your way into this fort and explored a bit, killed some more monsters, looked around, finding some interesting clues and some little bubbles and whatnot. You eventually found your way down into the cellar of this fort, following and looking for this kid who had been missing. As you had finally made it to the end of your journey, you entered into the room where you saw the kid looking through the keyhole. You unlocked the door. You slightly charged in when you saw the child who was tied up, his hands and feet bound together, tied next to this big old snake skeleton, which is sort of dug into the wall, and another woman who was sort of manacled to a wall adjacent to where this kid was being kept. You rushed in, started helping out, when Corey got stabbed in the back, quite literally by a knife, revealing that the woman who was chained to the wall was actually an illusion cast by a creature wearing a hood covered with eyes and arms, where from the elbow up were just these metal cuffs and like a wooden branch, where her severed hand was reattached with smaller metal cuffs to the piece of wood. You guys scuffled for a little bit. Things were crazy until most of you were knocked out. The giant illusion was dropped on the snake, and it turned out to be a giant constrictor snake biting most of you guys. The combat went on for a while until Corey dropped and then transformed into some sort of giant tiger creature. Corey was... well, she was a bit uncontrollable. Rushed forward, attacked Balasa, knocking her unconscious before attacking the hag, and then once more... It was Wee's turn, I believe. He took down the creature. The hag, as both the snake and the hag were finally killed. The rest of your party not doing well or unconscious. This is where we begin our turn right now. I had the same initiative order for last time, and it was Wee who finished off the hag as her form drops. I'm going to reenact some stuff so you guys remember what's going on. She takes a knee. As the wound is opening from the Eldritch Blast across her face, she looks up to the giant gnarled roots that twist their way into that black cauldron near the center of the room. She looks up towards it. She's like, "Sister!" Drops to the ground. As she is falling forward, a form comes into view, flying off of the roots, and a invisible sort of veil is pulled off of this crow, wearing a necklace of an eye dangling. Flies around the room in a half-circle motion, and is gone. Derelict, you're up next. Corey, you're on deck.
We've got a witch, may we burn her?
Seeing the mad tiger lady rampaging, Derelict's gonna just yell, "Knock her out!" and swing both of his bladed knives at her. Bladed knives.
Bladed-
Chain blades. Yes. Knives.
There
are knives on the chains. He's swinging them at you.
Cool. Good to know.
Okay, let's see. That's not gonna hit. Is a 10. This is your armor class.
Does a 10 hit?
Do we want the camera on for this bit?
It does not.
I mean, there's nothing going on the map right now, so I don't.
And a 19.
That does hit.
Right. That means.
Yeah.
Would I get sneak attack for this?
I mean, I am next to
microphone
you,
issues.
not next to her.
If anyone's next to her that's
You are?
conscious.
I don't think so.
Is
Okay, yeah,
Bella?
so just a minor setback.
Plus.
My microphone
I'm
just barely started
unconscious.
recording.
Okay.
Well,
recording
we've got
all
the audio
this,
on
so-
all of the cameras too.
Just saying.
Oh, goody.
It's going now, but there was a bit of an issue there at the beginning.
Interesting.
Fun.
Unfortunate.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
Speaking of technical difficulties, you have a knife in your back.
Thanks.
That's not technical. That's
Tactical
5
difficulties.
damage.
Personal.
Okay, that's reduced to half. So 2,
Nice.
3.
So 2. It'd be 2.
2.
Rounds it down.
Cool.
Are you susceptible to radiant damage?
That's a great
Right.
question.
Cora, you are up. As Derek, you used your chain knives to attack her with it?
Yep.
Alright.
Great. So wisdom saving throw.
As at the end of your turn.
Great. Okay.
Ah,
Oh, boy.
So do I have to roll? I'm gonna roll d4 then.
And remember that the DC has increased.
Oh, great.
It increases every time.
If it actually fails.
North.
North, which we identified as towards
Towards
me
you.
last time, watches the horridly, grotesquely misproportioned form of Kore, now more beast than person, quickly turns, the open wound bleeding on her back, and to the north it looks like the first person is Ren.
That. Oh, because there's no one to the north.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
no, so just kind of like slowly opens up like a fan until you hit someone.
Okay, fun. Alright. It's cocked. 12,
No.
3,
No.
Are you adding your attack bonus to that?
4. I'm just seeing if I hit.
No.
You have to.
Yeah.
add the-
Do I
You
hit
add
all
your-
of them?
No,
If
if it's
you
a
roll,
strength
You
attack,
have
you
to
add
add
your
stuff.
strength.
You add
to
your
it,
proficiency in strength. I have details down there.
Yes, and
Okay.
since in this form you have proficiency, you add your proficiency too.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So all those
Well-
numbers you said plus other things.
So plus strength plus proficiency. So there's both 2,
Your strength
So
increases
4,
in this.
4. So
The highest one was 16.
Your strength
No.
increases in this form.
yeah.
Yeah.
5 to
Just
strength.
someone's not
In
dying.
this form.
Okay.
Never mind.
Oh, gosh.
Totally hit you.
Huh?
Your strength is one.
Okay, so the
So it's
first
plus
one.
7 to every roll.
What was the first one I rolled? 12. Plus 7, 19.
That hits.
Next one was 3 plus 7 is
That doesn't hit.
10, and then 11.
That doesn't
So the
hit.
first one
18.
does hit, so that's oh
Because
gosh.
it's 11 rolled, so plus
No, she
7.
rolled a 4.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Never
Yeah.
mind.
3 and a 4.
4 plus 7.
So 1 hit.
Yep. Plus 5 plus 2, so 8 damage.
You don't add your proficiency to the damage.
Ooh.
It says I do.
Okay then.
Wow, Red drops down.
You add your proficiency to the fight attack, not the claw attack.
The first one that hit was the claw attack.
Not good.
Wait.
No, proficiency to bite, he said.
Yeah.
So that one doesn't
It's-
get proficiency.
It's
'cause it
to
was claw.
both.
No, yeah, she adds her proficiency and her strength modifier to both.
Oh, yep.
Bite doesn't have proficiency actually. It's claw that has proficiency.
good at
So
hitting
you attack with your claw right now. You make 2 claw attacks
Claws.
and 1 bite attack.
Yeah, so the claw attack was the first one that I rolled,
That
and
was
then
the
a
one that
second
hit.
claw attack, and then a bite attack. I just go in order.
Yeah, so the first one
claw
hit, the
attack
second two
hit.
Yeah. How much damage is that?
8.
8. Yeah. Ring falls down.
The form. Just charging forward, Ren, you're like slightly relaxing, your shoulders slumping against the wall as you watch the hand fall dead, just like, oh, this is nice. Almost this massive tiger form just and slashes into you, dropping.
Ouch.
It's Sayere's turn.
Wisdom saving throw.
Yes.
Do it. Successful death save.
Nice.
Oh no.
I got a 2.
Jenica.
I'm sorry.
That's bad.
Looks like the
Spell
dice
the
don't
20's
want.
right there. Got a 2.
Sayere, you're up.
I rolled my death save and I passed it. It's
Hooray!
1 success and 1
Sorry.
failure.
Balassa, you're up.
Please
Now
tell me
Darren's
our plot
on
device
to
is
make
gonna
a
save us.
10?
10 for what?
Death saving
Death
throw.
save.
That
Oh
should
yeah,
that
that's the
passes.
base
Oh, barely.
cutoff.
So I survived.
Yeah.
No, that's another success.
One success.
I will do nothing.
I believe you passed one last time.
I will check.
I didn't
I
listen
think
to the recording
so.
before we came in.
I sure hope you have a,
note of
Yeah,
all
this
y'all's
is my
death saving
second
throws.
one.
I
Oh,
sure hope you
second
have a plot
success?
device
I'm
set to
keeping
save us.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
succeeded.
3
Unless-
successes, you come back to conscience at 1
Once
HP.
you're back to consciousness, you don't have to worry about it.
3 failures.
Stuff.
No, I
thought
succeeded
this
on
is
one,
just,
so
like,
that's how I came
stabilized
back
at
and
0.
had to roll on my wisdom save.
we've
so
been
I'm
doing it when you come
technically
back
at
to 1.
How much?
Let's go with that.
Okay, yeah. Come back
You
and
need 3 successions.
Just
No.
sort of
Come
our
back to
tabletop rule
consciousness.
for it,
Okay.
I know.
because y'all are small. Alright, so Saya,
Gonna
Melissa,
die.
Ren.
Death saving throw, buddy.
It's me again?
It's you.
Last time you just got attacked.
Ooh,
Nice.
I passed.
What is it?
A 13.
Yeah, that was 1 success. Uruku is up.
Okay.
You're
Cool.
in this form.
What is
I
Uruku?
control Uruku. What is the token for Uruku?
I don't think I
don't
put
have
one
one.
down.
You don't have one?
Isn't it
No.
Should we use our Lego hand again?
Oh boy.
Now we do.
Uruku, who is over here by the Haglast, is going to hide behind the cauldron. Don't make a stealth roll.
Yes,
Not
he
gonna
is.
try and get Corey out.
And Uruku's dexterity.
Uruku's
like,
tiny.
fast.
We haven't gotten that far.
Dexterity is +0. It's a 17 to hide from Corey. You're up.
All right.
They are. You, plural, are up. Semantics.
We kind of grits him, braces himself, and he is going to march right over here. And he is going to look up at this giant feral tiger and just say, "Scary lady needs your help. Rug lady's down." He's down too.
What?
We need your help. And then take the dodge action.
Jenica's heart is melting.
But his
But
core
Corey.
is tight.
Corey, you get to
Does
make
she-
another wisdom saving throw.
Oh, good. Please be good.
Please. Don't forget to add wisdom and proficiency if you have proficiency with wisdom saving throws.
I do, so that's +5. Okay, that's 21.
21. Corey's eyes slowly fin back down.
Good job.
You watch as the fangs, these massive teeth, slowly begin to draw back into her jaw and into her skull. Her claws recede back down, and her arms and legs and form begins to just slowly shrink again. You guys, as then the other bracers on her wrists just fall off as the stretch had torn them, but now as she recedes a little bit, they fall, and you are in your regular shifted form. She is not the Korra you remember, but she's not this creature either. She is somewhere in between.
So I'm shifted.
You're in your shifted form, yes.
Is it still Wee's turn?
You took the dodge action?
Yep.
Wise!
No, it is Derelict's turn.
You said her claws fell off.
The leather,
The-
the armored ones fell, and her regular claws are just fingernail longer-ish.
Elongate.
He's cautiously gonna go up, pick up her weapons, and also take the dodge action.
Well, it looks like all of the threats
I can't
have
heal people.
effectively been neutralized.
Everyone can heal.
So we are going to exit combat.
Do we get up now?
Check Joey.
Dun, dun.
We're going to ask everyone who's unconscious to make one final death saving throw before other players get actions, and then another death saving.
I pass.
I passed 2. I got a 10.
17. I succeeded 3 times.
The dice
Well,
don't
that's,
want me to
you-
die. I am.
You draw a quick breath, but it's filtered a bit, so the stench of the room doesn't quite hit you at first, but slowly lingers in through layers of clothing. And as soon as it touches your palate, your eyes a little bit more, because
Finding my face flat on the stone. Oh, gross.
and you are still very much bleeding, but now your consciousness is back. What do you all do?
Good.
See, you
Pass
succeeded, but who's
Pass
actually
2, yes.
conscious at this point?
I'm
just the
not
3 of us?
conscious.
I'm back at 1.
Conscious.
Okay. I have conscience.
You know what? In some situations,
So wakes up and is
I
like, guys, heaven's great.
Let's all go there now.
With Balasso waking up, Wee's gonna just another glance at Corey and then run over and grab him Balasso's arm real fast.
Oh, that's cute.
Well, she hasn't stood up yet, so it's kind of like you knock her back down and she's trying to pick herself up. And
At least she's not on fire.
It's true.
yes, your twin golden curved swords are still on the ground in front of you. Luckily, you didn't fall on any of them. I had to actually roll for that. What'd you do?
Scary lady needs help.
What's going on? And I'm just scrambling up with shredded tapestries.
The tiger lady turned into a tiger.
I noticed. I believe she pounced me.
Yes.
Something of the sorts.
Scary lady needs help.
I grab my swords and I sheathe them and head over to Sire.
Corey starts.
Oh, Sire, scary lady. It's impossible.
That was pretty scary right there.
What happened to her? Do you remember where she wounded? I'm going to look around, but ask before.
Your guess is as good as mine. I was.
Do I still have his knife in my bag?
Whose knife?
No, I
Or
pulled
did
it
you-
out. Those
okay.
are the ones on the chains. I didn't throw anything at you.
So I'm still
That I
believing.
couldn't hold
Conscious
back.
of where his weapons go.
I was being considerate, stabbing you.
Gee, thanks. Actually, thank you.
It was for your safety and for ours. Actually, mainly just ours.
I'm going to medicine check. Well, I'm going to check for wounds and try to stabilize Sire.
That's a medicine check.
And that is 5.
You look, you see all these cuts, just all the weird magic marks and a little bit of like, almost like heat treatment on the edges of her armor around her chest, and just like, you put your hands on her, apply some pressure. Please make another death saving throw.
Oh.
This could be good. Haha.
I pass a third death saving throw.
You put your hands outside his chest, push in. It's like you feel the sharp pushing in like someone snapping your ribs. As you wake up and see Balasso shoving her hands on you.
We should grab her arms.
The 5 is
I
never
try to
done
pull
so
back
good.
away from Syed.
Oh! God! What are you trying to do?
You are
Came in
unconscious.
my chest plate?
I believe you are not that weak.
They're like,
Nor
make a
is
perception
metal.
check.
Yes.
Carry on, Scotty.
That's all.
Corey is crawling away
is
this way.
Towards the wall.
19.
19. You take a quick look around the room just to assess if there's any more threats or any other danger, and you notice the eyes as they were like three-dimensional, like sticking out and looking around on the cloak of this hag, older, evil lady that stole this kid, have just like flattened out and are simply just designs of eyes on her cloak now, not actual tangible eyes.
He's gonna go examine the cloak.
Alright.
Closer.
We are going to go over to Sire, who is now talking, and just very gently to her shoulder, just, and then walk back towards Balasso.
Hi. Can Sayar get up and look around?
Yeah, it takes
And
quite a
then-
bit of effort while you're getting up. Ryan, please make another saving throw.
Okie dokie. I don't pass.
Oh no.
Ooh, 2 passes and a fail.
Is anyone else? I'm gonna look around for anyone else unconscious.
You look
'cause-
around, there's a dead creature, and now that you get a closer look at this older hag woman, she's got these horrifyingly like overstretched gauges on her ears, little like dangles of spider web stabbed in through at like the top parts of her pointed earlobes. Most of her teeth are missing in random places, and it seems like teeth of other creature have been jammed back into her jaw, as well as like you see the dress that she's wearing is like stitched together. It's like 2 pieces put together and held in place with little rib shards of something. Some sort of bone broken and just stuffed in between to hold it in place. She also has like a metal ring jammed in her patella, like in her knee. Like a bull's horn ring, you know, have on their nose, but like in her leg.
Oof. That's all I see.
You also see Ren.
Okay.
You got a man there.
And a tiger.
Not quite.
Looking at, I'm part tiger. Looking at the that wall with Ren there and tiger, part tiger. Corey, I'm going to walk towards Ren to also medicine check
All right.
and see if I can do anything. If not anything, probably, but 10.
And you take parts of your own like shredded cloth and parts of his shredded clothes and see where the blood is coming from his back, and you like put him there and try to wrap him around and tie him together and make this long thing, and you hold it in place like okay. And so it just feels like the blood has stopped flowing. There's still stains all over, and you just kind of slap her in the face, and then you become conscious as well with one hit point.
I kind of jump up as much as I can, and I knock an arrow and point it. I look around first
All right,
to
if
see
you're
where the
going
tiger
to
is.
do that, I would like you to please make a strength saving throw.
Okay. 15.
You jump up, quickly go to grab an arrow your side, your bow isn't there, and like slump against the wall. Just everything in the room gets a little like wavy and dizzy, and light seems a little bit brighter. Just
Helter kelter.
and take a moment to stabilize.
Do I find my bow?
Yeah, it's just a little bit off. It was just knocked aside when Corey hit you full speed.
Do I see Corey?
Yeah, I think Corey, you said she was crawling away. Which direction?
She is just like curled into a ball in the corner, and just muttering in Druidic to herself. Just sin chindu si. I don't know how to say that. Sin jundu. Is that how it is?
Which
Breathe.
What are you trying to say?
Breathe.
Breathe. Let me get to it real fast.
Sin jundu.
So, do I see her? Or should I make a
She
check for
is
that?
to your left.
CG
I
Undu.
don't know.
Siji undu.
CG.
Okay, that's what she's muttering under her breath. Just
So I see this.
Yeah.
knock-
still like, she's very still clenched in a ball.
And now her little creature, with a little winged, with a little cub, slowly crawling towards her.
So I knock my arrow and draw it and say, "What in the name of Garva was that?"
I take my hand and I put your bow down.
Why should I? She just attacked me.
Put your bow down.
You are
You
not
gotta give
safe.
me a good reason because I almost
She
died.
attacked me. How do you think I feel?
You all
I'm
need
about
to
to say-
leave. Get out. You're not safe around me.
I go and approach Corey
No.
and crouch next to her.
She tries to get as far away as possible. Get.
You're
Get away.
on the ground already.
Yeah, I know. She's against the wall.
As you
Just like,
have crawled and
sorry.
hit the backdrop, you, in-game, actually do bump into this small wooden chest as those metallic finger phalange
no.
metacarpal designs holding the round chest lid closed.
I just
You bumped
crouch
into that.
and sit silently in front of Corey. And I fiddle with my cloak.
She's just staring at you like, get away. Get away. Leave me here.
Sayer's gonna walk up. Well, what's the word?
Limp.
Limp up to Ren. And just go like, put your bow down.
Why, jeez.
And
Is
then
she
walk.
with us or against
And then
us?
walk over to Corey. Well, towards Corey, and then I mean, like, so we won.
Derek, you're the other one, as everyone else has been in conversation, and we see most of the last, so you hear in the corner, next to the corpse of the massive snake, just this.
Oh yeah, the child.
There's
I
a
didn't
kid.
forget, but
Before I hit her, did he learn?
Oh, did you
That's about the cloak.
check the cloak? It's creepy.
Ooh. That is 21.
It has a very strong enchantment to it. Not like the most powerful the world has ever seen, but it's not something your average magic Joe Schmo could accomplish. It's got some strength to it, but it seems dormant. As well as the cloth doesn't follow the same pattern of, you could say, grime that the rest of the hag has. It's not as dirty, it's a little bit more well kept. The coloration is slightly different than her clothes. And as you're inspecting it, you also notice that it's not fabric that the hag's dress is made of, but like this really thin, aged leather.
He's gonna take the cloak and put it in his bag.
Sure.
Then he's gonna go over to the kid and cut his bonds.
Like as you cut, he's like, "Are you gonna hurt me too?"
No.
Make a persuasion check.
No.
Oh boy.
That's not good.
Oh no.
That's not good.
Am I gonna have to save this child scenario
The
too?
5.
Derek, as you lean down the poorlit room with your heavy hood drawn, blood of both your enemies and allies on your hands, and these chained blades, and like you have those dark swirling marks across your face and little spikes growing out. The kid's like, girls further into the corner, like, please leave me alone.
Does Ren see this?
Does Ren see this?
Should I make a perception check?
It's a small room.
Okay, Ren does see this. He's gonna walk over. He's gonna say, "He's telling the truth. We're not here to hurt you."
Persuasion check at disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
You
Yeah,
have to
thank
follow up that.
advantage with
He's
kids.
pretty much.
Since
He's
when?
being terrified.
That's a feat. Good with kids.
Yeah, that's something that I put with Ren.
That's not a stat. That's a backstory.
I know it's a backstory thing I've got.
Doesn't
But
mean it transfers to
I
your
rolled a
stats.
3 anyways.
That's 3. He keeps going back as you are both bleeding from your back and tied with loose rags.
Can Sayer step up and say, "Go away," and then kneel in front of the kid at his eye level and go, "Hey, it's okay now. No one's gonna hurt you. Your mom's outside. We can take you to her.
It's like, my mom?
Yeah, your
Think
mom's
this
gonna
is
be
really
okay."
But this time you don't have any disadvantage.
Thank goodness.
You approached it.
Big scary guys. 9.
Oh,
But I hit the thing or whatever.
It did kind of hit the mat. You're welcome to re-roll it if you'd like.
Okay, I'll re-roll it for whatever.
Watch it get worse. This always happens.
20.
whoa!
Not a natural one though.
He's like, okay.
So we're gonna reach in. Come on. And
Kinda
pick him
stands
up using her lance.
Limps a little bit as he stands. There's this like gnarled cut in the back of his
Yeah.
thigh. You now notice as he
Yeah.
stands.
Sarah will pick him up and then start limping towards the door.
What is the current position with Kore, Balasa, we, and the chest?
All of those things are in the back corner.
Right,
I mean,
but
if you followed me, then
how are is Kore on the chest?
Kore is
by
on the
chest?
ground and just backed up into it. Balasa is just in front of Kore and you're
So
just
is
behind Balasa.
Kore blocking access to the chest? That's my question.
Yeah, her back is pushed up against it in her shifted form. She is a bit larger, not quite as massive as that other form that you had encountered.
Don't do it, man.
We're going to very timidly just kind of get a bit closer to Kore.
Get away. You're not safe here.
You're not monster.
I am the monster.
We're not safe anywhere.
I have an
Ouch.
agreement with that. And I go and try to take my ragged clothes and cover them and cast mending to try to fix them.
Sure, you're able to repair the clothes.
Cool.
On
Just
that.
weave together the bits that you have, as some of it had been shredded away. It's not the same size. It's a little bit higher off the ground than it was before, but not much. Because the clothes come back together very weirdly.
As she hears you cast mending, she's gonna look around like, where are my claws? Where are they?
I believe someone picked
From-
them up.
Derelic's gonna start walking back towards the end of the room.
Where the chest is and everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
You had to mention that because it was Derelict, right?
No, it's just that's the direction. My map doesn't have y'all drawn on it, just the stuff.
So, and Corey, you see now her other hand is like behind her and she's like clenching her necklace too. She doesn't want you guys anywhere near her.
Can Sayer pause at the door, hearing all this go on, turn and look at Kore, make eye contact, and then go, "The kid needs you," and then start walking out the door.
Ren's
Carrying
doing
him.
Oh, okay.
The correction, both kids need you.
Ren's gonna talk to you two. Are over at Corey right now.
Yes.
Everyone's at Corey right now.
Except for Sarah and the kid.
Ren's not over. He's gonna say, If you stay over there, you're gonna make her feel even more cornered. Give her space. He's gonna walk towards the door.
I ignore and sit. But I was crouched and I'm just sitting.
Your now repaired rug just kind of poofs in front of you as it drops to the ground. You are the rug.
Yes, I know.
It's been forgotten.
After the last 3 sessions.
Yeah.
Why are you all still here?
Because I don't think you're a monster. And
I just attacked you. You went unconscious.
I did.
We're going to go walk towards behind Corey, kind of put our hands on her back and start pushing her towards us and say, "Go to Rug Lady."
What?
She's not budging.
Well, she's still in her shifted form, so I'm gonna say make a strength check.
Yeah, because that's going to do anything.
One. Natural one.
Was it?
I don't know.
It's a 7.
Is that minus your modifier?
That's with the modifier. Yes.
You feel a little pressure of them just kind of like, it's like a little cartoon push against the rock and the feet move but go nowhere or something. A little sneaker squeaks on the stone floor.
She's literally going to just push you. Like, no! Get away.
So you attacked us, and we attacked you. The point is, how did you do that?
Low-key impressed.
It's not something I can control. It just happens.
I'll take it.
Ren's gonna walk over there now, hearing that. He's gonna hold out his hand to Corey and be like, "I've dealt with worse."
What's
I
worse
believe- I
supposed
think-
to be?
I'm not done talking, I'm not done! I'm not done!
Let him finish.
Please! Alright. So it's like, I've dealt with worse before. I think we can learn how you can control this.
She's going. Right. You're funny. Hilarious.
I honestly think that you can do it.
I don't. No. I've tried. I'm trying.
Try harder.
Try harder.
Just come with
Something
us.
I've lived with for my whole life.
You have us now.
What does that have to do with anything?
We can help
I
you.
don't know who you are still.
Well, if you want to
You
stay
can
here by
learn.
yourself, you can. I'm keeping your clothes, and he walks out.
No, you are not.
As she leans forward, Balasa, could you make a perception check?
Yes.
Oh no. What have you done, Joey?
Gotten her attention.
Go
that's
wisdom
what.
saving, just kidding.
He's been back.
He's already left.
He's walking away.
Leaving.
17.
Okay, she's.
17. You notice as Balasa leans forward, you notice Balasa as Corey leans forward in this more energized state, trying to get her claws back from Derelict. The chest locking mechanism appears to be a face, like designed like a humanoid face, where it's just this hideous, grotesque figure, just open mouthed. But one of the eyes, the socket is vacant.
Alright. It's very strange.
Ren's still there with his hand out. He's just looking at you.
A lot of non-reactions.
She's gonna push past you and run at Derelict.
Ooh, she's speedy too. She's still in her shifted form. She has like 50 feet of movement.
Once you get to the hall, you see that you set them on the stairs.
What stairs?
That's what we got.
It's a ladder.
Oh, it's the ladder.
You gotta get through the hallway with all the roots, back into the room. Then
Okay, so he's just holding them.
Can I please have them back?
You can't stay here. He gives them to you. And he walks back into the room to go check the chest.
Priorities. In the meantime, I'm inspecting the
Y'all
chest
greedy.
and looking.
Yeah.
We are too.
You can make either an investigation check or an arcana check.
I will make Arcana check.
We
Yeah.
would like to assist with that.
Alright, you get advantage from them.
Oh,
Not sad numbers.
That's what I from the side table.
25, natural 20.
5. Alright, you notice that it is regular in its form, but you can tell that there is some sort of arcane design to its lock, whereas if it's picked mechanically, it will detonate magically.
Ooh.
and vice versa, unless you unlock it naturally and magically with whatever actual key is required.
Got it.
Without the actual key, bad. That's all you can really figure out.
I'm going to look for eye and put my hand on the chest and kind of like look around nearby, just around the immediate by me.
Oh,
Walking up
Sure,
to the chest.
there's. Oh, you go first.
Walking up to the chest and pulling out his thieves tools. Alright, I've got this.
oh
I
no.
say no! I grab his hands.
What?
This chest will explode or something if you put tools in it.
Ah,
Wait a
It's
second.
magic.
pockets the tools.
I'm standing
They have
behind it
to
right
find
now.
key.
Yeah, you do that all the time.
We start looking around for a key at Bolas's statement that we need
Look
to find
for
it.
something that looks like eye.
Wait a second. And I pull out my metal thing. That looks like an eye.
That it does.
All right.
Do you think this would work?
I don't know. Can I see if it matches up at all?
It is the same.
Where'd you get that?
I will put it in the
I already
thing.
told you guys.
Well, Ren's still holding it, so.
Oh, I take it from Ren and I try to fit it in the way I think.
Alright, as you remember, there are those little, I want to say, little ridges around it.
Mm-hmm.
Those just little bubbles around the circumference of it. You put it in, and you feel there's a little bit of resistance for a second, but then you slide it a bit more until one of those ridges enters in, and the chest lifts open.
We did it!
The space between the lid and the body of the chest are these little tiny spikes. With tiny orange runes on them. If you'd like to make an Arcana check.
Yes. Oh, that was not as good. 10.
10. That's probably where the bad thing was going to occur, was with these things.
And I'm going to assume this bad thing is not going to happen, and I open the chest.
You open the chest and you find... Give me a second.
Woo! Woo! Wow!
It's a mimic.
That's what I was so worried
all
about,
dead.
guys. I thought it was a mimic this whole time.
You find a strange array of human teeth.
Or
It's a
And
tooth fairy.
yeah!
Oh.
It's blue fire.
It is legit that thing. That is in-game what you find. This weird crystal with this internal lattice swirl with some sort of blue and purple design with small golden flecks. It's smooth, and as you pick it up, it's a little cold.
I don't like cold.
What is it?
I'm going to make Arcana check and try to determine what this is
Go for it.
and inspect. I don't know what this is. We'll find out what this is. I think this is, I don't know, 16. What is it?
You have
hold
never
it, like a-
encountered anything like that before, but based on the structure it looks like, bizarrely enough, as it is crystalline, it seems to bear the trademarks of ore.
Huh. It's some kind of metal then. This ore is metal, right? No? Is it one? Okay, never mind. I should know what that
Quarters
is.
in the other room.
Yeah. I take it out and I put it in my bag. We can look at this more later. We should probably get out of here.
Is there anything else in the chest as we glances back over into it?
Yeah, teeth. Small humanoid teeth. But you do notice all of the canines and regular sharp incisors are missing, so it's like 80% molars and about 20% bicuspid. That's right. I listen to the dentist. What's up?
Which is a nasty. We kind of turn around and go and walk back out of the room, and we pick up the knife that we were stabbed with earlier
And pockets it.
and pocket it.
Okie dokie. That's morbid. Back to those in the hallway. I believe Cider left first, followed by Corey, who genuinely left the room before Derelict faked it. Okay, so you guys passing back through the creepy hallway. The little kid just has his face buried into your, well, pressed, I guess, against your armor.
Yeah.
Just kind of shivering the whole time. Let's make it back to that main room with the overturned storage crates and barrels and other such furnishings, and the ladder
kitchen?
leading up.
Oh,
It's a
right.
storage room. As you guys enter into this room, you start hearing the footfalls of your companions in the hallway trying to catch up. You guys gonna do anything before they arrive?
Corey is going to just put the bracers back on and cast mending. Let me say the word.
It's not mending.
Yes, it is. Wait. Yeah. Repair after a simple mending cantrip, in case they're destroyed.
Oh, okay. I got it mixed up with a different thing you have. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so she's going to just look at the bracers and cast mending on them, which is...
A cantrip.
cantrip.
They repair, sink back to their normal fit place on your forearms, and as they do start to tighten back up again, you start to... It's that small sort of ghost sensation of how they tightened when your form was lost. You just have this little draw back as your mind remembers the way it feels, but the pressure doesn't build anymore. They just repair. Just stop it. Calm yourself.
She takes out her dagger, and on the bracers, she'll make a slash mark into the leather.
Okay.
Yep. And she'll follow Sire.
Who's climbing the ladder?
With the child.
Busted leg.
Her leg is.
You're like, wait.
Janky leg.
If you trust me, I can carry the child up first, and you can climb.
Sire holds out her lance and drops it and goes, carry that. And then keeps climbing.
Corey picks up the lance then and goes first.
It's surprisingly heavy. During all this, the rest of you guys have caught up to the main
Picks up
room
the
where they're at,
still.
through the hallway with the strange little icons of the tombstones giving root, and passing through all that. You do notice that the closest one to the actual doorway is cracked a little bit. You guys walk through, look at it like, oh, that's weird. And just to totally pass by, the first two, second two, third two, back to the main room.
I think before he would have left, Derelict would have gone and just removed one of the snake's fangs.
Snake a snake.
Or two of them, actually. I'll take a pair.
We at this point is sticking with Derelict.
Alright. So you guys all make it back in the main room. You see Sire slowly but steadily climbing the ladder, holding onto a kid, like using an elbow for balance, grabbing, and Corey behind.
I just stand and stare at Corey and wait.
I'm climbing.
The uncomfortable ladder climb.
I go
Back up into the kitchen. I assume you all are going to one at a time make it in. As you guys make it back into the kitchen and slowly find your way out into that main hall. The room sort of scattered at this point with different bodies of grimlocks that you've left behind in hallways. You push your way through to the main corridor where you see the large room that you had encountered before, that knocked over goblets and turned over chairs, and those tapestries with dragons and other such imagery on them. Make your way outside into the courtyard where the remaining bits of rubble from the wall and the bodies of the other grimlocks are just kind of scattered here and there. And you take a quick look over at the tree, and it has those little berries about the size of oranges just all over it.
And those are bigger than they were.
Yeah, they were like grape-sized when you first picked them.
Can I tear down one of the tapestries with the dragon on it?
Yeah.
Cool.
New cake.
Zach
Add to the
first.
layer.
Just you wait.
No appreciation for art.
Appreciation, I'm going to wear it. I'm going to cast mending again and add it into one of my cloaks. Can I do that?
Mending repairs it to its original position. You're going to have to actually sew it in.
Okay, I will hold on to it and then sew it later.
Just roll it up.
Yep.
Save it for when you check for invisible ink later.
Yep.
Ren's gonna walk up to Corey and say, listen, I genuinely think you can do it.
You don't even know what that was.
I may not know what it was, but I've seen miracles happen in the past.
Yeah,
I've
I'd
seen
like a
more than
miracle
one.
to happen to me.
I genuinely think you can do it. And then he's gonna walk away. That's all I needed to say.
Sorry, I need to check something real fast. You guys want to do your thing?
We're going to look around, make sure that Corey, Ren, and Sayer have already kind of gone ahead. Look up at Derelict, look back at the tree, grab an orange-sized berry, and stuff it in his pack.
Oh my gosh.
You might not want to eat that.
We know. We already heard. But we still want them.
From who?
From her.
The rug lady.
No, Rug Lady doesn't say things like that.
The tiger?
No,
Or
she
Blondie?
didn't notice. Blondie didn't notice. Scary Lady? Scary Lady didn't notice either. But she told us.
You do realize that's a guy, right?
No, she's here.
Oh, we have a gender.
Yeah, don't eat that.
He's talking about the tree.
He's gonna go pick one too.
Okay.
Probably not.
Just put creepy red
Necrotic
fruit.
orange.
Citrus of doom. You guys are back in the courtyard, approaching north-ish to where those portcullis-ish sort of bars are knocked aside. It's not much. I mean, there's still space to squeeze through with a tight squeeze, but you know, you just kick one of them.
Yeah.
You can fit through easier with the kid.
After getting outside of the gate, Sayer's gonna put the kid on the ground because he can walk, but hold his hand and lead him towards, and like motion for Corey to give her lance back.
Thanks.
And then limp towards where we left his mother.
Alright, is everyone following?
Yes, looking back at Derelict and I call out, Derelict, do you have child? Will you watch him?
They are here.
Cool. And I look back ahead and catch up to walk next to Corey and Sayer.
Corey's following just a bit behind the
Then I
kid and
walk next to Corey. And I just walk silently.
As everyone's approaching, Ren, you off the side, you doing anything or just following with the group trying to get out of this place?
Just following with the group.
Alright, so your thing is passed. Do you have dark vision without it?
Yeah, dark vision is constant.
Okay, I think everyone's got dark vision.
Yeah.
Ren, although everyone does have dark vision, you have the most trained eyes, near-ish to the front. I'd like you to make a perception check.
Oh, come on. That's actually gonna be a 12.
12. As you guys continue your way forward, leaving the fort behind, as you pass by the remains of the scarecrows and that little semi-farmland, you begin approaching towards where the forest begins again. Remember how it was that break from the main forest canopy? You see 3 figures, silhouetted, approaching pretty quickly from the forest towards you. You see 3 figures, and you take a second, and 2 of them are humanoid to a point, and then the third one, the one in between, is kind of bigger than the others. Not by much, as you know, you can't get like a clear view of them, but the other 2 are, I don't know, I'd say like 2/3 the height of the largest one as they come charging towards you guys.
I'll put my hand on. Wait. There's people
Charging?
Nah, approaching. Charging's a bit extreme.
Oh no!
I can't make out what they are.
Not at this point. You do have time before they get to you to take action or do whatever you want to do.
Everyone hide. Sire, maybe get ready for battle. And I stealth away.
As you begin to stealth away,
What's his
armor class?
17.
Oh no!
17. Okay, as you're like, everyone, there's someone. This arrow lands right in the ground, right in front of you, just sticks straight up. First, you notice it's real well made. Like, archer arrow.
I
It's
grab
pretty
it.
good. It's like twice the length of the arrows you use for your bow, but it's got like really well done, like pheasant feathers, sort of lashed at the end. You're like, oh hey, this is really nice. And you look up like, oh crap! And the 3 figures break from the tree line. They begin charging towards you guys. 2 of them, the humanoids off to the side, one holding a sword, the other one holding 2 small axes. You see the humanoid one with the axes has like curled down pointed ears and sort of like a wide flat nose, which has sharp edges to it. He's got a bit of like a reddish brown sort of fur about his face. How many of you guys are well versed in the goblin world?
Goblins, we all have 1 HP.
Was I?
Okay, well then you're not really sure what this guy is. As he charges, he's got these armed gauntlets that seem to be designed as dragons' faces, the teeth having segments broken off under where the fingers are guarded. He runs forward and he starts like diving into the grass of the corn sort of area. The other is actually a human, and he's the one carrying the sword, and he has this wide shoulder plate which looks sort of like a shield, and he begins charging forward, and the largest figure in the middle, as he has now released and is reaching back to a quiver, drawing another arrow and knocking it to the bow, you see charging forward with interesting bare chest sort of, but like loosely armored where like the leather strap of the quiver is, and a bit of like striped tinged fur is this enormous centaur with like a shaved mohawk of hair that kind of goes into the back, and he readies and pulls back another arrow.
Wait!
Fire.
There's children here.
That's not gonna do anything.
Ren, grab the arrow.
Classic.
I'm going to.
As Derelict speaks, the little kid pokes his head out, and who is the kid with, Sarah?
Yeah.
There's 2. Yeah, the kid is with me, and I would have like moved in front of him and like stay behind me.
He pokes his head around, he's like, Call? Call! And he's running towards the centaur. Centaur slows
I'll let him go.
and puts the arrow down, and you see the human creature guy, the humanoid figure kind of comes out of the grass. He looks at him and he's like, Sharp! And like jumps and gives him a quick hug, and the creature like stops and catches him mid, sort of sits down and like pats the kid on the back. The human, seeing all this, puts the sword down, stops running and like goes to a walk. He's like, what's going on? And then the centaur, now walking slowly, puts the bow away, sort of like taps the guy on his shoulder. It's going to be confusing in a second. Put your blade away, soldier. These are the ones that Lash told us about. We are the remainder of this boy's caravan. It looks, by the looks of things, and by the story we have heard, you're the ones responsible for this.
What do you mean responsible for what?
He gestures to the fort with broken portcullis, ripped apart scarecrows, and bodies mangled all over the place.
Oh yes,
If
most
you
of it.
mean the rescue of the child, then yes.
The one character that had been identified as the child is Sharp, looks towards the centaur, to the group, and he looks back and he's like, you can't argue. He looks back to the rest of you. Our thanks for finding young River. We're worried about him. And the little kid looks up to him, just kind of like keeps hugging onto the hobgoblin, and then begins crying. He's like, the guy stands holding the kid, and it kind of like props up in the little kid hold where it puts him on the shoulder. The kid keeps crying, and they, now more relaxed, begin approaching to you. The centaur puts a hand to the chest, open palm, and then curls into a quick fist, a sort of semi-salute. He's like, I am Carl of the Midnight Caravan. And these are my compatriots. The human's like, I am Soldier. And the other one, I am Sharp.
So
We are at.
step forward, leaning on her lance, and go, I'm Sire of the Hand of Wrath. What of his mother? We left her back at the caravan.
She was with the rest of ours. The centaur is the one leading the conversation. She is fine. Our healer was tending to her. When we found her, she seemed delirious as we were led. It's a long story. Our captain would be the one best suited to tell it to you. You are more than welcome to join us. In fact, we would insist it in helping us find this young boy. His mother let us know that strangers had helped her and chased after her before she lost consciousness. She's currently being healed.
It would be nice to see her, please.
Your aid is most welcome. And Sarah starts walking toward them.
Ren pulls out the arrow from the ground, looks at it. This arrow is excellent craftsmanship. Where did you get it?
I made it.
You made it yourself.
Yes. May I have it back? You're welcome to admire it, but when you are done, I would care for it back.
Could you make me a few?
We could talk, we could taste the air, but as a gesture of thanks, I'd be more than willing to for saving our young friend's life. The human soldier walks up towards Sire, and he's, now you've gotten closer, is like, not largely sculpted, but deeply cut. He's got this like open V-neck shirt, which is like loosely buttoned, and he's got these several straps underneath the shirt, and you can see, now that he's close, he's got this weird bandolier on his back of small daggers in this X formation, and at his hip, he's got a sheath sword and one out with one hand, and he puts the sword into the sheath. Nice lance.
He's flirting with you.
It's had its day.
It's the nighttime. Oh, this is one of those phrase things, right? You see the other creature, the other humanoid, Sharp, looks over, just like patting the kid's back. He's like, "We're the rest of our caravan's back on the main road. If you guys want, we're gonna try to find a place to bed down for the night.
We would
It's
much
very late.
appreciate this.
And we can tend to your wounds if you'd like. We have quite an accomplished healer and some
Yes, please.
some medicine." Okay,
Cora sticks very closely to Sire. She's just gonna follow behind.
Does she intimidate human?
who?
Me?
Alright?
Go ahead.
Nah, this dude's chill.
Okay.
Also not that bright. As he's sitting there, just kind of like lift chest sort of posture, arms kind of pushed back, just like walking very Jim Bro-esque. The centaur begins to turn about and is like, you can follow us if you like. And he begins heading back into the forest. As you guys are going to follow him, I assume.
Yes,
Yep.
I grab Weed Child's hand. Come on, we have to
Yeah.
find sleep.
Okay.
You're about
We
to
is,
fall over.
very much about to fall over, but trying to pretend like he's not.
Yeah.
Is he
At
doing
this
a good
point,
job?
it is about 11:15 at this point of the night. Far
Past
your bed.
Yep.
If he overwalk, if he looks like fall asleep, I'm going to swing on back again.
Okay.
Sickness.
He definitely looks like that. So
Okay,
yeah,
that eventually
Can I have a
happens
snack?
in however
No.
long it takes.
Alright, so I can do it. As you
Coffee.
guys now walking in your more
Thanks.
calm pace, pushing through the forest as you just charged haphazardly last time. I do have to ask this question. How many rounds were you in your form, Kore? That was the first one you attacked Balasa, and then the
I
thing.
attacked
And
Ren.
you attacked Ren.
So
And
I made.
Then I think we saved you.
It was 2 rounds of attacks for me.
Yeah.
So I had 2 turns.
Okay. Cool. Just checking. Alright, you guys push through the woods. It's much more traveled now with these other figures. Clearly the grass and the like lower foliage has been pushed by the large centaur form. Walking forward with his heavy footfalls is just kind of clomping ahead. And the one figure is holding on to the kid still. He looks back to the rest of you guys and is like, "Forgive my friends, they're not the best of personable folk, but thank you for saving River. We got here as fast as we could, but we were fortunate that you were here as well."
Sarah just nods.
Okay, yep. And he turns around and walks back towards where the centaur is. The human's still just kind of chilling near Sire and Kore, just kind of like looking at you, but every time you look at him, he looks away. Looks back, you know? Just this casual walking pace.
Is walking behind Sire and Kore and the human. We're walking behind. I'm going to turn over shoulder and ask, we are you afraid of Kore? I don't know how asleep you are, but
Do I hear this?
Yeah.
I
Getting
whisper.
this.
There's lots of
Clang, clang, clang,
clang, clang, clang, clang, clang.
We're hang back. I wouldn't just say loudly or obviously.
Also, just like give him a piggyback ride, so just kind of like.
Okay.
Honey,
Tiger lady, dangerous. Most good people, dangerous. But also not attack friends.
stop it.
My hero stuff.
Good backyard. Wait, what do you mean not attack friends? Didn't she attack friends? Or what?
She did. Most dangerous, scary people don't attack friends. So confused.
It's okay to be confused, but it is good you're not afraid. And just turn and look forward, watching the people in front.
As
Silently.
you turn and look forward, everyone else, having noticed this, and Abasa joining the crew, there's a growing light, like a large orange glow sort of permeating through the thick wooded area. As it grows in brightness, you also get to feel it just like the tinged smell of smoke, as well as hearing the what sounds like burning some kind of fuel, not quite excuse me sorry, not quite wood, but some sort of fuel is being spent to create this light source. The large centaur, identified as Call, is going to turn back to you guys and be like, oh, we're almost there.
Excellent.
How much farther, please?
Well, we're headed towards that. And as he points ahead, you see breaking from the tree line is a large buildup of gray, heavy forms with large wooden beams pressed up against them and stones in a circle of light about them. And a large bonfire is now just roaring up, consuming what's left of the Grimlocks you would have left behind at the earlier stage. Standing next to the fire, staring just kind of blankly into it as you're now crossing towards the end of the forest line back onto the main charcoal road that you had been using, you catch sight of this guy. As he stands looking into the fire, you see a human figure. He's got this really deep sort of brown skin and this hair that's twisted in these little knots looking like little like spikes. But you can see like the actual skin of the head just with these bits of hair lightly kind of twisted around about. He's got a small like goatee sort of thing, which grows off a little bit off the chin and twists into a small line, almost like a drip of sorts. Getting closer, you see as the firelight flickers, you can see the exposed sleeveless shirt that he was wearing, as well as his like neck and face. You see these little displays of color, all sorts of colors, just like the spectrum of them as they shine, as the different flame light flickers. You watch as the actual colors move around these shapes of what looks like deep swirls and all sorts of patterns of what looks like a massive like cone circling in on itself. Just these optical illusions of designs tattooed on his face, just reflecting different colors at different angles. Standing next to him is a shorter girl of similar skin tone, human in appearance. Her hair is like braided into tight cornrows, which all directionally seem to point to the back left side of her head, which then tied with looks like metal coil, which you can catch from the fire flicking light, like shoots out in these bright, quick shots of hair, just this little explosion of little dreadlocks and curls coming out of the back. And next to her is a heavy-set dwarf man, clearly bald all the way at the top of the head, but the hair from about, the hairline edge, the sideburns down, sort of blends into a beard, which is very strong to about the mid-chest. His hands are out, balanced on a heavy double-bladed axe, and he's got this shirt with a hood, which is pushed back, and they're looking at this fire. Across from him as well is a female form, but not like the dark skin of the other two you've recognized, but like this ashen gray sort of skin tone. Her head is completely shaved of all hair, and she has these long curled horns which come out and then up a little bit. Her hands are crossed, and she's wearing what looks like sort of like a leather tight armor mixed with like an acrobatics leotard sort of thing. As those figures are staring at the fire, the main human looks up with his little beard sort of moving with it. He looks at you guys and he goes, "Call, it's good to see you all back. Oh, you brought him!" And he kind of rushes forward. The other characters at the fire kind of snap into motion as they're sort of hypnotized by the flickering flame of his creatures. He rushes forward towards Sharp, you remember him, and he goes and sees the kids asleep. He's like, "Oh," and he looks at the rest of you, and he comes up to Ren and just comes in this big hug. He's like, grabs you in this hug, and as you like grabbed onto you catch like a whiff of his odor, and it's like 5 different kinds of incense Just like this crazy
One of them.
like mixture
Yeah,
of scents.
sandwich.
It's pleasant but kind of stings a little bit in like the back of your nose.
Spicy.
And he pulls you back and he looks and he goes over to Derelict and tries to grab you in a hug.
Dodges.
Alright, so you kind of dodge out of the way. He's like, oh, forgive me, I need to introduce myself. But quick, come to the fire. We'll do it on the way. Call, if you could take a kid to his mother. She's with Mask over at the main caravan. As you guys break through the forest line, heading towards it, now you see, leaving the forest and back on the actual road, this fire is built on the road itself. And down just about 7 or 8 feet from where your visual range from the trees were are several carriages, heavy canopied covers on them, 4 wheels each being pulled by 2 horses. There's about 4 of these carriages, and you see more figures over there walking and like checking in, and you see the Sharp takes the kid over towards one of the caravans. This new guy then ushers you over to where the fire is, and the other characters that you had seen, the dwarf, the girl with the poof of hair, and the gray dark figure with just these blank white eyes are at the fire. And he goes over and he points to the dwarf and he walks over and like rolls some logs for her to sit, and he gestures like, please have a seat. And he kind of grabs a small rock and moves it over to the fire, and he sits down on it.
Corey's gonna sit very close to Sire again, just like behind.
Sire's gonna sit on a log near the captain-looking guy, but she was gonna say, "Could I trouble you for one of your healers?" As she sits down.
The figure's like, oh, absolutely. He stands up and is like, Mask, we need your help over here, please. And he sits down and is like, he'll be coming shortly. Now, I know y'all have had a very long day.
Very nice.
Uh-huh.
And from what my friends have just described of what's been going on, I feel like y'all are in need of a little story of what's been happening. Now, my name is Midnight. This is my caravan. The woman that you had encountered and her son whom you have saved. Once again, our thanks for that. We're part of our caravan, part of a small scouting party that we had sent on ahead. It was more of a coming of age for them as they are starting their own caravan, breaking off from ours. Now, we had lost contact for about a week, as we had expected them to grow on their own. But one night, I was getting a dream. I couldn't shake it. I would wake up, calm down, go back to bed, the same dream continued again from where I left off. The journeyman told me to come find it. You better believe we saddled up those horses. We came as fast as we could just to find her lying. Her bandages covered on top of one of the cots. All the men she had gone with killed. She had told us that she encountered some strangers who helped her, and they went looking for River. Well, natural, we sent Call, Sharp, and Soldier after, only to cross your guys' path. They sent a quick message back. One of our other men came back and let me know what was going on. First and foremost, thank you for what you have done for our family. It is late. We know you all need rest, but if you have questions or need food or any other assistance, we will be more than happy to give it to you. We will chat in the morning. He kind of stands up. As he does, he looks to his right, and you see another figure has been kind of standing near the shadow. And you didn't catch him at first, but you see a man in a loose, short-sleeved T-shirt, and it looks like shorter pant trousers. But where you normally see forearm and like some leg and face and open chest, this guy is completely wrapped in bandage, as it's all over his chest and his face, all of the exposed skin gone, except for these little forced down and cut pieces where his eyes are. And you see one, they're just slightly bluish gray eyes. And he kind of looks at Midnight as he introduced himself and nods. Midnight looks at the rest of you and he's like, this is Mask, our healer, but is there anything you want to say to me before I let you rest for the night? We have plenty to talk about, but I can see you are not in the condition to have I should say, a lengthy conversation.
Where's your caravan headed?
Oh, that's an excellent question. And he looks at the centaur who's kind of standing near the side, arms folded, and shrugs. And I looks back at you guys. Oh, we were headed here. We did not have a destination afterwards. We can talk about that in the morning.
Then a nice breakfast would be nice, and I, gracefully as I can, and exhausted, try to sit down and put Wee on the ground.
We are fast asleep.
Yeah. So, holding heavy child, I try to not fall over.
How heavy are you?
He's a child and I'm tired.
He's like 10.
And
Fair
very
enough.
weak.
This is not like little baby.
Well, this baby.
How heavy are you?
I'm about 60 pounds.
Yeah, you're light. But still,
Like a sack
I'm
of flour.
very weak. I have
Sack
1
of
point
flour.
health.
Sack of
So
flour.
I slump onto a chair and just hope food would be very nice in the morning, but I'm not hungry now.
Sorry, 1 second. As the bandaged figure walks over to you, Sire, puts a hand out, and with like one finger, kind of like taps you, and you feel a warmth start to slowly spread as you regain 7 plus 4, 19 hit points.
Yay!
Nice.
The hatch figure pulls his hand back, or his hand back, kind of like nods, looks at the rest of you guys.
Please.
Not them, because you're asleep.
Red nods.
Do you have to... What do you have to touch to heal? I ask him tentatively.
They could,
Gestures just to you.
they could
It's
all
okay.
use some healing.
But then he like pulls the wrap from his eye down a little bit and points towards the skin under his eye. Puts
What
it
do I
back.
see?
Skin,
Does it have
kind
to
of palish.
touch skin then?
You know.
No thank you. I'm going
But
to try to
his
tend
finger-
my own
Fingertip.
wounds.
He's got fingerless gloves on.
You regain 12 hit points.
Cora will put out her palm as well.
Kind of high fives you. And you regain 14 hit points.
I'm going to...
Derelict goes and throws his pack down by a tree and just kind of bunks down for the night.
The figure walks over and just kind of puts a hand on Wee's head, just kind of like pats it twice. And you regain 7 hit points. Pretty low roll, sorry.
That's fine. I'm back at full.
He's a pretty low. He's a pretty low
hit
person.
point character. The figure bows and kind of walks off. As you see Midnight walking towards one of the main caravans, and you see these other figures that are away from the fire, setting up tents. Take a quick kind of look around the road you knew before, and you see opposite from where you came out, a lot of upturned earth and some markers placed on the ground over off of the road, but not quite too far enough into the forest where it's not visible. You see the girl with the shock of hair coming off the cornrows. She's sitting on one of the carriages where the driver would sit, kind of like hands on its edge, head resting on her hands, just kind of staring at you guys. Not like creepily, just kind of looking at you.
Sayre's gonna take her armor that she has. She's taken off her chest plate and the upper portion of her armor, and she's gonna start meticulously cleaning it by the fire.
Okay. To doff full armor, it takes about 10 minutes to fully remove it.
Yeah, she was started taking it off when she sat down.
Sure.
But as she's doing that, she's gonna kind of sidelong glance at Cora and go, "So you want to tell me what's going on?"
Traveling in a caravan with lots of people does not sound like a good idea just for me.
Are you saying that because you're afraid for them, or you're afraid of yourself?
Both. I don't want to hurt anyone else. This has already been too many times.
Then don't.
Then just don't. Right. I told you, it's like what I told Derek, like, I can't control it.
I am sorry to interrupt. You see the humanoid figure with that reddish fur kind of hair that had helped carry the kid. He's got several bedrolls under one arm, and he's dragging a whole canvas bag, and he's like, we have, and he drops a spare tent and rolls for you guys. I don't know if you need it, but kind of nudges with his foot. There it is.
Thank you. I'm gonna start setting up the tent.
Okay.
Ren takes one
help
of the,
with the tent? No?
No.
he takes one of the sleeping pads and walks away.
I set up tent. I don't know how long it takes, but just off the side of the fire.
Okay.
Listening. If I could hear.
Kind of thinking about it for a moment. Moment of silence. You know, Corey, we all have our demons. And they're ours to master. Maybe it's not what you want. Maybe it's not what you need. It's what you got.
You can't change who you are. I say off to the side.
Has she been listening? Have you been listening to that?
Not far.
Well, someone's eavesdropping.
It's not a discreet, super discreet conversation.
You're not in
Trying to be
secret
discreet.
location.
Born with something, yes. But it's more of a curse than just something I was born with. But I don't know how to get rid of it. I don't know if I can. But I've tried.
Well, the best way to start is by figuring out what it is.
They call it the haze.
Would I know anything about that?
Bestial haze. It's a curse in my family. And I happen to be lucky. Get stuck with it. I've been hurting people ever since.
I don't know what to tell you.
No, it never does. It's only been a few who can help. And they're not here right now.
Well, just so happens, I'm trying to get rid of a curse too. Maybe we can find a solution together.
Another curse.
Pretty different from yours, but yeah.
Be interesting to find somebody who had what I had, but
I've heard about people who do stuff like what you do.
You hear a... as the tent falls in on Balasa.
Check it. So stupid cloth.
That's so ironic.
So I sleep in clothes all the time. I don't know, how long does it take to fix and put the tent up?
Well, it completely fell over, so you had to climb your way out of it.
So, are we in this tent with you?
No.
Or where's-
You're still
The
sleeping
tent
by
is
the
not
fire.
put up.
She sit you down
Okay.
next to the log, facing
Got
the fire,
it.
so it's warm. I'm actually not sure what Derek is doing, as Ren took his sleeping roll and
Bounce.
took a little journey into the woods.
He's just gonna sleep there.
Cool.
Derelict was lying against his pack by the tree, but still kind of listening.
Eavesdropping.
Yeah, that's
Two
is my job.
Anyway, so if you're making it by yourself, it's going to be difficult, especially since you thought you knew what was going on when it sort of collapsed. I was trying to think of a funnier way to say that, didn't work.
Oh, that was
Sorry.
funny.
So climbing out, I'm going to
Do you think we
doff
should help
two
her?
of my cloaks and try to get them out of my way to re-put them up.
Okay.
In the tent.
probably.
I don't need help. Leave me alone.
Clearly.
Pride has been injured.
Someone's
I
tired.
don't blame her. She just got mauled.
And someone's
I
asleep.
did not get mauled. I just stare her down from under my hood.
Wait, can I see your eyes? That's the
No,
only thing you
really. You can
It's-
see it like glow,
It's a
but
pretty deep hood. If you were to like bend down and look upwards, you could get like a glimpse of her eyes. But she is very well,
covered.
yeah, covered. Yeah, sure.
Okay, if you don't want any help.
I mean, if you insist, if you're going to sleep in tent, sure. I don't know how big is this tent? How many people would it fit?
It was big enough to fit all of you.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm satisfied to sleep in the trees. So, but I will help you put up your tent. Since that's the only thing I can do right now.
I will. Okay. I'm fine with that.
Assuming you're getting up and moving to go help her, as you're doing that, Sire's gonna be like, Corey,
Yes.
maybe I can teach you some things to help you manage it better. I don't know about nature all that much compared to you, but you know, there's some stuff that I know that might be able to help you keep that from happening again. Maybe.
We'll see. She'll walk over and start helping you put up the tent.
And Sire
Trying
keeps
to stay
cleaning her
very
armor.
far away from you still.
I must feel like you're more afraid of me than what you can do to me, but whatever. I'm not afraid of you.
Just silently help push the tent up.
Okay, now how long does it take?
With their help, I would say make a group dexterity. No, I'm just kidding. It'll take just a little bit as Sire just like holds up the main sort of like rod, and the rest of you guys connect little side rods. So it's like a little post that goes up, and 4 other little posts that come down. You stake them, and the canopy, they post weave through the canopy to hold the tent up. You untie the bedrolls, lay them out.
While doing this, I'm going to ask. So, Corey, what's your favorite color?
What's the color of your toothbrush?
Blue.
Actually, one second.
What?
She knows this.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, I have to ask you a question.
Oh, me? Crap.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wow, who knew this would be such a secretive question?
Yeah, I didn't. I was like over here doing other stuff and just gotta get some secrets. Don't text it to me. Put it on the chat. You text it to me? My phone's over there.
Gosh dang it.
Put it on the chat.
No, I can't.
No,
Put it on
don't
Our
chat to him.
chat.
Oh,
Direct message in.
Put the secret thing for everyone to
I was like,
Yay!
Put it on Facebook.
purpose.
Nah, while she's sending me that question for this conversation, those of you sleeping in the woods.
Ren's cloak is set up because it doubles as a hammock. Yeah.
Oh gosh. You find 2 trees close enough for the fire to like keep visual range and everyone, but close enough to the like deeper part of the woods where no one can see you. Tie it up. Open your small locket.
Yes.
They're like, what are you doing? Just chilling by the tree, leaning on your pack, just looking at themselves as tent, like,
Yep. he's just gonna lie there for the night.
At the point when the tent and the bedrolls are set up, I'm going to pick up Wee and put him inside as we continue. I don't know where this conversation is going to go, but
I don't know how much movement goes with picking him up, but as that happens, his pants, which are a little bit more bigger than normal and baggy, down near the feet, kind of get pulled up, and you realize for the first time that he's actually barefoot, and his feet are heavily calloused and don't like he's never worn a pair of shoes in his life.
Feel anymore.
child needs shoes. Just set him down.
the child needs shoes. I feel a Christmas story coming.
But I guess I don't like shoes very much either, but whatever.
Green.
Green.
Forest green. And orange.
So I can see why orange. Green's a great color. I like green a lot. Green was a new thing for me once, but
I can see why you like orange. All of your fire. You burst into flames back there.
it's no, it's a hobby of mine.
I'm a pyromaniac.
Spontaneous combustion.
Insight check.
All right, make an instant check.
Right, like my hobby is turning into a giant tiger.
So we all have our
What we
things
do
we
is
like
I,
and don't like.
It's actually not terrible. 19.
Her word choice is a bit forced, but the intent is
Not false.
Yeah.
it's kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. No comment. Just keeps cleaning her armor.
So what do you like about green? I mean, besides the fact that you like plants. I feel like that's a bit obvious. Plants are wonderful though. They are a really cool thing.
I'm whispering so you can keep talking.
I'm just thinking.
Can't help my sass.
I do like the forest and the trees, and it is where I grew up, was in the forest, but those colors remind me of home.
Is
Somewhere
home-
safe.
Is home near here?
Well,
The forest of this land or a different land?
I don't call any one place my home. It's a different kind of home.
So I
A
guess
different
wherever you
kind of
find
safe.
the forest.
We could say that for now.
Whatever works.
She's gonna awkwardly leave and go find a tree.
Goodbye.
Sleep well,
The
Corey.
question.
Thank you,
All right,
Bob.
they're like this now. The tent is set up, and we are sleeping. Melissa sits down. Sire, where are you bunking down for bed?
Sire's gonna finish cleaning her armor to its sheen, to its
Okay, it'll take
normal
about 30
sheen,
minutes.
and then bed down in the tent.
Okay, as everyone's chilling in the tent, Ren is in a hammock that you can see.
I'm in a tree.
Korai climbs a tree.
Closest
You are
one.
leaning against a tree. Why are you sleeping there?
Yeah, he lied down against his pack.
Ah,
against the
so
tree.
I'm just gonna like slide from sitting to lying. Right. As you guys prepare for bed, Korai, since you're the last one to walk off, what are you doing? Climbing a tree, like legit perching in a tree?
Yep. And same thing. She's just going to touch her necklace and whisper into it.
As you're just kind of playing with it nervously, it gets a little warmer. You feel like two quick little pulses, and you hear. Nadriwa nawa sashu uriyai.
Oh boy. Which translates to
The words are going well.
the words are going well. Okay. I don't know how to say it in Druidic. But
We don't have to then. We'll just go into the morning if you like.
she'll just whisper back. Good. There's something I have to say to you.
Okay, it's kind of like a 1-1.
Yeah. So that was all she said back.
Okay. You guys bunk down for the night and rest, and so as you finally get everything clean, and you're walking to the tent, everyone's asleep, you're like, finally I can bunk down. You pull out the sleeping rug, you just, and you hear this, like this, like obnoxious snoring coming from one of the canopies. And you sit there, eyes open. This quick low sigh of distress, and you hear and the snoring stops. Close your eyes, go back to sleep.
Snoring starts again.
But this time coming from the hammock.
You guys wake up, the sounds of the fire are gone, it is morning time, bit of light filtering through the tent, those in trees and hammocks, same sort of effect but through canopies of the outsideness of the world. As you guys are just kind of chilling and getting up and ready, you open the little tent flaps and you see there's like this rock with a couple plates of food set out on it. There's what looks like toasted bread and 2 little strips of bacon and some sort of like white mush with little green and palish yellow flecks in it.
Food! I scramble out and grab a plate and
That was
sit
adorable.
and start the fire.
Before everyone else awaits, can Sayre get up and begin her morning workout?
Sure.
Without her armor this time, though.
Yeah, you get up, you take the one piece of bacon, you chomp onto it, protein.
Yeah.
You start doing push-ups. And pushing the standing push-ups. And while you're doing standing push-ups, you see that the caravan people have now gotten up. You see the centaur kind of stand from his position and start helping people roll up the tents. And you see several other figures that you didn't catch the first night as they were probably doing other stuff. You see, obviously, the centaur, the guy with all the wrappings. Just make an intelligence check for me, please, so I can stop being vague and just tell you the race of the character.
That would be 13.
13. Sharp as he walked by, you remember him carrying the kid, as he's walking past, carrying some bedrolls, putting them in the back of one of the canopies, sitting there staring for a second. Now that you're upside down, all the blood rushing into your head, you're like, ah! He's a hobgoblin.
Oh, of course.
The taller, more noble, stronger versions of their runty, dinky counterparts. You also catch another elfin girl walk past, and she's got like some more of that breakfast material on plates, handing them out to people. And her ears, not super long, but not like half elf short. And she's got very like loose curled hair. It kind of bounces around when she moves. It's like unkempt, but naturally a loose curl. You see as well the direction of the snoring. You see this male form get up and like stretches for a second and leans out. And as it gets up, the first thing you notice are the massive long horns coming out of his forehead, and then the like hind legs that he's standing up on, and a bit of like a little ox tail flicking behind him. And he kind of like stretches, and, like picks up part of the cart, kind of like dushes the dust underneath it, sits it back down by himself, and goes over and starts tending to the horses. As the rest of the caravan sort of comes alive, the rest of you waking up, you do notice the little smaller girl with the poof of hair is still kind of on the carriage staring at you guys, hands up, head on her hands.
What race is she again?
She's a human.
Okay.
Human.
Holy shit.
15, 14 maybe. Not very tall.
Come down from my tree and come over to the fire for food.
I grab plate and hand it to Kore. This is very delicious. Meat is always delicious.
Thank you, Bellessa.
We are still hiding in the tent, kind of like just peeking out and watching the elvish girl with the food, trying to decide whether we should actually go out and get food or not. But also trying to plan a way to get food without having to interact with her at all.
There are plates of food set out on the log and rock in front of the tent, enough for each of you.
Okay, then we run over to one of those and start eating.
Start to shovel it in your mouth. As you guys are waking up, and Corey comes back from the woods, and Ren does, fixing his cloak and straightening up his hood. You recognize Midnight starts walking towards you guys. He's got a bedroll, like, tucked under his arm. He's like, do you all need help taking down your tent?
Sayre, as she's doing like now one-handed headstand push-ups, just kind of like cocks her head at Balaza as she's doing it.
It's not that hard to take tent down, obviously.
We're very good at
Is
taking
everyone
things
out?
down.
Yes.
Alright, and he walks up and like kicks one of the pegs. As it comes up, it kind of like does this little whiplash motion. You see the top tilt, and the whole tent collapses down.
What?
Weird flex, but okay.
That's amazing.
Says the one doing ridiculous and absurd push-up. You don't need to do it that way.
Whoosh. I have a very rigorous routine to maintain this physique, and I need to wear all that, as she points to her very shiny, sparkly armor.
With one hand? Are you still doing the one hand?
No, she leapt up from one of the push-ups, and then like...
Got
You
it.
know there are other ways to keep one's physique besides whatever that was. Anyway, if you guys want to hurry up, and we're going to strike camp real quick, and we're going to head on the road. But first we're going to have a little chat after everyone's eaten.
And with that I smack, we eat with manners! You don't shovel food, you eat it with what utensils are there, what are we
None.
eating?
Sayre's gonna grab a
Gracefully.
plate, walk over to Wee, and like lean next to her and goes, "Eat however you want," and walk away.
Everyone's trying to raise this kid different.
He's got so many influences. Some
Too
of them
many.
are good and some are not.
Since
Yeah. Can I go steal something from her plate as she's chastising Wee?
Sure, make a stealth check. No, sleight of hand check.
Sleight of hand, that is...
Do I make a perception
watch
check?
me. That's a 12.
What's your passive perception?
I believe it's a 12.
So it just barely succeeds,
Yeah,
right?
succeeds. You see Derlock walk up, and you're just like, kind of look over to see what else is going on. You look back, Derlock is like past you. Look down, plate is empty.
Damn it! I want my food back, and I just pick up an extra plate and put it on my empty plate now.
At this point, Ren catches up to the rest of you guys.
Where's the
You know.
Minotaur?
What?
Where's the centaur?
We don't know. We're just eating right now.
We is going to pick
You
up one of
hungry?
the extra plates that hasn't
A
been
bit.
touched yet, and just very gingerly and carefully start handing it to Ren.
Is it on like a fork?
It's on
No,
a plate.
yeah,
Just
just
handing
handing
it
it
holding
over
the plate,
carefully.
leaning away as it leans it towards you.
Oh.
Trying to keep distance, but be kind.
I'm gonna crouch down on my knees. I'm gonna put my collar down. Thank you.
The moment he lets go, he runs back to where he was sitting.
Alright.
So adorable.
I whisper down, "Are you afraid of
Making
him?"
some headway, but
It's always the ones that look normal that are so mean.
You know what? I don't like normal either. That's why I'm not normal. So that's fine.
As you guys
Reasonable.
are chatting, having breakfast, looking around, as your tent has been expertly taken down, you see a little human skipping towards you guys, followed by a humanoid, taller woman, very skin pale complexion. Her hair's tied into this like loose bun where it's all kept in there, but bits of it are kind of sticking out, mostly dangling downward. She's got a arm in a sling and a heavy bandage on her side, and like a part of it on her face. And as this little kid is skipping forward, she's kind of like, "No, slow down, honey, please." And he runs up to you guys, and as he runs up, he's going to try to hug Sire.
Sorry, listen.
He runs up and gives you a big hug.
Ren is
And
smiling.
he's just like, "Good morning!" Sticks to you. The woman comes up a couple seconds later. She's like, "Honey, please be nice with our,
it's
our
fine.
friends." And she kind of like eases down and sits on a rock. She's like, "I hope you guys slept well. Thank you again so much." And she's got like these like tear-stained eyes, like kind of red around the eyelids. She's like, "Thank you again. River, you can let go of her now." And he's just like, "No." Just like hugging on to Sire's side.
Oh.
It's no problem. Children need to be taken care of properly.
So passive aggressive.
Looks at Lee.
Staunch governess or something.
Roll a sass check.
And 911.
It was our pleasure to help.
I bet we're a bit of a weird group as well. I think you guys have noticed, but they're good people. We should be able to help out. I think I'm gonna stick with them for a little bit. Are you all planning on going your own way?
We don't know what we're planning on doing yet.
I need to see the centaur first.
Oh, call.
Yes.
At what point have you finished?
I think the
Now.
plan was for us to go along with you
Promotion like that.
for as long as we needed.
As soon as camp is struck, we usually have a morning meeting. But River wanted to come say hi to you guys, so we walked out here to share breakfast.
Is he not scared of me?
You can find out.
Ren's just gonna keep eating. For now. He's just smiling.
So is Corey, actually. It's like probably the first time you guys have seen her smile. So
Everyone's probably already said it, and I've already said it, but thank you.
Is that River talking?
No, this is the mom.
Mom,
Sorry.
cool.
Haven't practiced these voices very well. Thank you.
How are your
My
legs?
son. I can walk, but only after quite a few treatments with mask. But I'll be okay.
Take care of them. You'll need them.
Especially with that one. And she kind of looks towards the little kid. Who now like pops his head back. He's like, "You want to see my toys?"
Ah, yes! What voice do you
Absolutely.
have?
And he pulls out this little thing from his jacket that looks like it was whittled. That it's like a panther-esque creature. It's got these 6 very long, slender limbs, and it seems to be depicted like a deep crouch with these 2 tentacles rising off the back instead of tails, with little spikes. He's like, "Here, Shout made it for me."
Who's he showing it to?
Sire.
Is it like excellent craftsmanship? Poor?
It's good, but not like, holy crap! It's just good.
Crafted on the road.
I bet you have tons of fun with this one.
I do. And he pulls out like these little humanoid people and he's like, "These are the heroes," and they fight the monster and puts them on the rock and he's like, "Ah!" and he starts playing with his toys. And Mom's just like, "Oh, please don't forget them again."
We walk over to where he's playing with it, pull out the little horse figurine and the little snake figurine, and we start joining in.
We would like to play.
Alright. You get a little, your own little campaign of monsters and heroes on the rock.
Corey's gonna put the rest of her food down, what is left, and Uku's gonna come out of her bag and just start eating as well.
Okay.
So, if the kid sees him, just like...
The chatter from the caravan group as they sort of introduce themselves are a lot of the figures talking, and you see Midnight kind of gets out and he's putting a tent back into one of the canopies and lowering it and sticking it in a little carriage, and you hear him, as it were, sort of shouting to the rest of the group. He's like, "We're gonna have a meeting with our new friends in 5 minutes. Wrap it up." And he's kind of shouting, and everyone's quickly putting things away, and you see the other forms of those characters and those other people that Sire had noticed, you all noticed as well, sort of packing up camp and getting the horses ready and tethered to the carriages as well.
Is there...
Is there a place to like clean our dishes, or where do we put these?
Mask will take care of it. He's the cook.
So
And
he's
the
a healer?
He's a man of many talents. I think. I don't know.
Okay.
It might just be those 2. He doesn't really talk.
We noticed. Okay, I guess we'll just leave them here then.
Do you know where Mask is from?
And a figure starts walking towards you guys. Very, very tall. Incredibly thin. This like weirdly elongated neck and shoulders with a mid-high collarless button-down shirt is this blue-skinned figure. He's got this flat nose that sort of bridges the eyebrows, which are hairless, and comes down just about to the lips, where he has that same sort of humanoid shape to the lips, but as he's approaching, his ears pushed back and slightly curved in like a little crescent sort of shape. He just starts walking towards you guys. He's like, "I'll take the plates."
Okay.
He kind of like bends down and picks them up from you guys one at a time. He turns to the woman. He's like, "Ash, I'm glad you're okay." And like walks away. And she looks at him as he walks away, and then to you guys, like, "That's Shout."
I see.
And
Kind of quiet.
Is he a bit uncomfortable?
With everyone, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay, that's understandable.
We
I
found him and
understand that.
Sharp together when they joined the caravan, and they haven't warmed up to everyone yet. We're all they all speak very well of you. Last night there was nothing but good things to say. They're just really bad at communicating.
I understand
We're
that.
not townsfolk. We're folk of the road. You may have picked it up. We're one of the caravans of the journeyman. And you guys know what that is, or think you know what it is, please make a religion check.
No.
Darren's check.
15.
16.
10.
16.
11?
Sire, this makes most sense for you, as members of the Hand of Wrath are faith-based. You haven't come across many Hand of Wrath of this faith, but you've met one, and the word the journeyman sticks in your mind, and it's in reference to Jahir, the god of travelers. You had a small conversation with this person, and just your general reading and understanding of things. There's not really temples to Jahir, as his active worship are traveling caravans that help people and keep travelers safe from bandits and whatnot. They are religious and
Traveling
utilitarian in the
mercenaries.
same. Yeah, they're just a faith-based traveling agency, as it was. But they're typically non-profit, and they are always on the move,
Cool.
which makes it incredibly difficult to peg down any priest you may know, because they can be literally anywhere. Yeah, so part of our, this is Lash speaking now, part of the thing is taking on a new sort of name when we join the caravan. We bury our old life and then we take up the new one, and we all get names according to what we do. You're not going to get very many normal names.
So why are you called Lash?
I take care of horses and I break in the new ones. I go lashing whips.
Oh, you break wild horses?
I do.
Have
Here
you
we
seen
are.
any
Okay.
recently?
Here we go.
What? What breeds do you see around this area mostly?
Well, in this area, the Empire has really taken a lot of the main wild herds, but we do have quite a bit of stallions over past the spines. Not much on this side. But if you do find anyone, they are typically not wild in these parts.
So wait, not
Fair.
wild horses out in the wild?
Yeah, they keep them healthy by letting them out in certain areas that they own. Technically, all of the land from the coast to the spine is owned by the Triad Reach. They've acquired it during the Reconstruction after the Great War.
So acquiring one of these horses would be bad idea because they're owned.
Well, and she looks over to like this
Free range.
sort of spotted paint pony that they've attached to one of the carriages, and she looks at it, and the horse kind of like flicks its ears and its head to the side, and it looks over at her. Just kind of, it's at the distance, not quite horse neighing sound, just kind of like heavy breathing. And she just kind of smiles, and she's like, "It wouldn't be smart to be caught."
I see.
Wise words.
Got you.
So free roaming. What about your son, River?
Mm-hmm.
Is that just his name, or what? Why does he?
It's a long story. I'll try to give you the short version of it. Speaking of River, you and he are sitting on the small wooden log. He's got like 4 hero human figures with like swords and stuff. They look very similar to the guy who was referred to as Soldier last night, with different weapons, kind of in the same pose, but like with different body position.
Is this
to
the one
hips.
who's going after
And
something?
he kind of gives 2 of them to you to play with, and he's like, "I'll trade you these 2 for your snake."
What are these things made of again?
It's kind of like a crystalline, or are you talking about the toys that he has?
The ones that I have.
The ones that you have, the snake is sort of a crystalline glass, and the horse is like a black, almost obsidian stone. Very smooth but heavy.
And then his are just wood.
His are wood or stone. Little bits of the weapon may look like they're carved from like old chicken bones.
We kind of like these.
Okay, then you can play with these ones. And he's like,
You
got
can play
the-
with this one.
He's got the which one?
The snake.
Okay, he put the snake next to the panther creature, and you begin having a combat sort of thing as they come in, as they begin sort of like talking like, "This hero's got all the powers of magic, and he shoots a fireball," and like shoots it at the snake and stuff. And what's your retort as his hero shoots a fireball?
Well, we dodge out of our way, and we use a blast of energy that knocks him upside the head.
Hey! As you guys are playing, back to the adults.
River would be crater.
Yeah, we were near Hillock, over in the western fields when I had River. We were on a barge when the contraction started. We named him River. That was the first thing he saw.
Is it possible he ever get a new name?
Oh, more than likely when he gets older.
Yeah. That can see why.
Yeah,
It's because it's from what he does, and he didn't do anything with River, but
true, but many people join the caravan. Lots of people. Very few are born into it, like River is, as is Gadget. And she looks over to the girl, kind of like looking at you guys. And as soon as Lash looks at Gadget, she like falls off and like kind of runs away, getting up and dusting herself off as she sprints away and bumps into Shout. She's like, "Whoa," and like drops one of the plates. He's like,
Sprightly young
Super
thing.
There's some laughing and stuff. She's like, oh, she's a handful. That's Midnight's daughter.
What's her story? She's been watching us since we got here.
She's very curious, that's all. She means no harm by it.
Naturally. I'd be curious about strangers too.
You guys hear back once again shouting Midnight. Time's up! Kind of like claps really loud. You see the whole gang start coming towards you guys as they're kind of like mumbling and bumping into each other. Soldier and Sharp just kind of like bumping into each other, like starting playfully, then getting a little bit rougher, and about to do it again until the large horn guy puts his hand between them and separates them and walks, taking up the space between the two as the whole group sort of gets close to you guys. Midnight sort of takes the main area, sort of addressing them and then turning to address you guys. It's like, we want to thank our friends once again. Now, though it's the morning, we have a proper list of introductions. We'll start with telling you who we are. We are Midnight's Caravan of the Great Journeyman. Simple travelers. I am the convoy's captain. My name is Midnight. You've all met Lash, Call, what's the centaur? You've met Shout, the very tall, blue, thin, kind of scary looking dude. He's like, over here we have Gadget, and the girl kind of like waves at you guys. Push the dwarf. We have Foot. Then towards the elf with the curly hair. It's Feather over there. Then we have, where's Web? Web! This pair of legs like comes out of one of the canopies of the tent, and then like as you notice them come down, they started pointing away like a back curled handspring, very slow and gentle, out of one of the canopied carriages. A grayish, almost like a gray on top of Caucasian skinned humanoid looking girl comes out. She's got long braided hair that goes almost to where she could sit on it. It's just in this tight single braid pulled to like a scalp almost visible, and she begins walking towards the group, and she has this intense tattoo of white-ish kind of steel gray ink all over her body of just spiderweb designs. You've all met Sharp, and he points to the hobgoblin mask, and the wrapped figure kind of bows. We've got Shadow, and he points to the black gray tiefling with the pure white eyes. And now it's in the morning, you can tell that her armor is also dyed completely black. It's just like very
Black.
goth grunge sort of, all black with just these white colorless eyes. And last but not least, and he turns towards the arm folded. Now you can see the heavy set forearms with this thick hair, like this coarse like animal hair coming out of his forearms, the large horns, the tail sticking out of the trousers, loosely tied about his different jointed hind legs, which he uses. His longhorn. Now, we are going to ask for your names, unless you will want to give it freely. However, we do thank you once again, and as a token of our thanks, we are willing to travel with y'all to where any of y'all are headed. We have no destination. The journeyman guided us to try to save our sister Lash. But as the journeyman guided us, guided you before. So, we're trying to repay the favor of your kindness and to our patrons. We were sitting here, you were here before we even got here, so the next best thing we can do is take you where you're headed.
Well, we are headed to Meladir. We need to go there.
Yeah, wow.
It's
You guys
far.
are just starting out. Where did your journey begin from?
We were in Crosswinds before this.
Crosswinds. Been on the road. And he looks over at Longhorn's like, probably like 2 days. Maybe 3. They're slow.
He has a good
Walking
eye.
fast.
We've not been on the road for long.
Well, you've got yourselves some friends then, as we will travel with you to Meladir. Part of our creed is to not enter into civilization itself, but we will take you as close as we can. It's a sign of goodwill for your faith and friendship in protecting Young River.
I like that code.
Don't travel into civilization.
Well then, Tensorol strike, let's get on the road. And he turns and starts looking, everyone's like, let's go! Turns the mask, he's like, get lunch ready in your caravan, turns the longhorn, start pulling out the courts. And he just started like shouting out orders and stuff. You see Lash stand up, and she kind of waves her hand to her son, and he comes over and takes her hand, and her and River start walking towards one of the canopied carriages. She's like, you guys are welcome to ride with us. There's plenty of room.
I think that would be a good idea.
Did River forget any of his toys?
No, he has them all.
Okay.
Alright, and that is where we're going to take our break. Welcome back. Thank you for waiting while we took a quick break. We're going to hop right back into the action. As the caravan has struck down camp and they have gotten all the convoys ready, they start pointing down the road, the direction you guys were originally headed. And as you see all the figures getting up into the different carriages, the centaur, as you remember his name, Call, approaches to you guys. He's like,
So, which way were you all headed to Meladir? I mean, I figured using the charcoal road, but this is not the best way.
No, it's not.
But we were here
She
for
stares
purpose
at Derek.
anyways.
Just the one we found ourselves on and figured it best to just continue.
How long were you all in the crosswinds?
Not more than.
Not very long.
Well, you were there for what, 3 weeks? 2 weeks?
A couple weeks.
About, yeah.
I was only
Not too
there
long.
for about a couple of days. Just for some business.
Well, word doesn't travel fast. About a week ago, the Triad Reach began its assault on Meladir. The city's under siege. Trying to pass through their borders by going through the old charcoal road be impossible for any number of us. Just wanted to come over and lay this idea instead. Midnight suggests that we cross over earlier into the Meladir Empire. That way we can cross through into the Spine's territory from their allies, the Meladir. Triad Reach may not have many friends, but what it lacks in friends, it makes up for making other people be friends against them.
That is the truest thing I've heard all morning.
Your closest allies are your enemies.
Let's say something like that. We're planning on passing, when the charcoal road forks, we're going to head more north and pass into the Meladir Empire. We're going to have to cross over some hills to avoid any actual patrols. It might take a couple days. But we know a safe enough village. They'll shelter us so we can then pass over to the Spine's kingdom.
Seems like a plan.
Is that right with you all? Or did you have official business you'd like to press forward on the charcoal road? Thought I'd inquire before we start, heading down a different path.
We just went down this path just cause, as far as I know.
Do we not need to get anything in Meladir?
We are heading to Meladir.
That's where we're going.
That's-
That's
Yeah.
destination.
Meladir,
No,
the city.
we're going to
Meladir, the
Meladir,
nation.
we're going through the country.
Oh, I just said in the character voice. Meladir is the city you're headed to.
Yeah, to the
Call
country.
is referring to Meladir.
Oh, yeah. So are they stopping there or are they going to?
Crossing
We're still heading
through?
there. We're just taking a different route to dodge the
We're going
Triad.
across the
Yeah,
border.
because if you guys are going to
Seems
cross the
like
border you were
down
headed
to
at
Meladir.
through the Triad Reaches,
Mm.
sort of, Tariff, it'd be pretty much impossible because they're beginning to try and expand.
So it's dangerous.
Dangerous and politically closed off.
Got it.
Not accepting new friends.
They seldom
Friend
are.
request
Triad
denied.
Reaches full.
Overflowing capacity.
Alright. Call unless you guys. So, do you have any other transport? We have more than enough room in our actual carriages. One of the carriages, which is driven by Mask, has all the food and other such supplies, so that one doesn't have a whole lot of room. Midnight rides the front one, Foot drives the other, and then Webb is in charge of the third with Lash.
I think that Lash had asked us, or thought he
Invited us.
invited us is a good word for that.
Well, feel free to take any of the carriages, just be aware that Masks is a tight squeeze.
Okay.
You saying I would like to go to that?
I'm saying you can do whatever you'd like, I'm just letting you know. I, and he gestures to his lower body, am fine on foot. And Longhorn is too heavy for any of the carriages, so he also travels on foot.
I generally am okay on foot, but some of our comrades maybe not. Would want to go on a carriage?
It's up to you.
She looks
And he
at
kind of
Balasa.
turns and trots off.
She looks
We start
away.
leaving in 2 minutes. He kind of clomps away with his on the more stone-based road than what you're used to, because the charcoal road as opposed to that forest path you charged through the night. It's a bit more organized.
I need to ask you a question via chat.
Okay.
Bum,
Chat
bum,
device. Not to be confused with all the plot devices, which I have like 2.
Well, I suppose then we should go and find Lash and join in her caravan.
I
Anyone is
think that is a good
opposed?
idea.
Cart.
It's a carriage.
This
Carriage.
is the caravan.
Right.
Point
Oh.
as Sarah
Text it
points
to
to
me
the
for
entire
our chat.
caravan.
I'm putting it on your chat.
Ren's gonna look for Call.
Call the centaur. He's walking straight ahead. He was the one talking to you guys. He's just kind of trotting
Oh.
ahead, checking the carriages, making sure the wheels
I
are
thought it
you know,
was-
fine, whatnot.
But it was someone else. Ren went with him then.
Okay.
And he's gonna start talking to him about arrows. So, about those arrows.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when... Could you maybe even teach me how to make these?
For sure. We've got a bit of a... We don't have a whole lot of time. We do pause every couple of hours. We take a break for about an hour, stretch and things. So we can start then. We're just trying to get ready to go now. If you'd like.
And he reaches behind him, pulls an arrow out of his quiver, and tosses it to you.
You start studying my method there. Do you have one of yours so I can judge, or do you flesh your own?
I hand him one of mine.
He takes it. He holds it to the point is near where his eye is and just runs his hands slowly down it. His fingers curl back before they reach the feathers. Just kind of like waves around him. Rotates it.
Ooh, very good. Can I hold on to this?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. He like spins
We'll
it through
trade.
3 fingers, puts it in his quiver, and starts clomping ahead. Turns to you really fast and goes,
You might want to pick one of the caravans. There's not enough for all of you to fit in one, but I'm sure you'll be able to find space. Alright, everyone, midnight's at 2 minutes. It's time to go!
and he starts kind of charging ahead where the carts are now slowly being turned around. You can see Mask and all of his wraps, and next to him on the little driver's side is River. He's got his little toys, and he's like talking to Mask, and Mask like gestures towards it. And he's pulling the carriage around. Gadget is sitting on one, and Lash comes up, kind of looks at her, and like you can't hear what she's saying, but she gestures around, and Gadget kind of slumps and hops off, and heads walking slowly to the one that has Midnight on it, and
Her
he
dad, right?
very dad like pats the seat next to him, and like big old heavy toothy smile, just like and she's like- and she starts climbing up on it, and you notice Webb doesn't like climb up onto the carriage seat. She kind of like grabs it and like lifts herself up onto the seat next to Lash, and she hops up onto hers. And you see Foot as he's like finishing up some bridles on the horses, sees everyone's getting ready, and like, rushes over and quickly climbs on top of his, and the horses slowly kind of ignore him. One starts pulling this way, one starts pulling this way. He's like looks over and starts shouting at Lash, and Lash is like gestures this way, and he changes the way he whips, and the horses go in the same direction. They're not moving very fast, but it's time to pick where you guys headed.
Sayre's gonna go and hop into Midnight's wagon.
Alright.
Kore's gonna follow Sayre, but she'll walk alongside the caravan. Or the carriage.
Which, wagon is at the very back?
The very back is Masks with the boy River.
Ren's gonna ride in that one.
Alright. So you walk up to the carriage. The wrapped guy looks down at you. And he's like... Points to the ones.
Alright, then I go to
The
the
little
next
kid
one
looks
up.
down. He's like, you can sit up here with us. Passes mask is like,
Alright, then I go shrugs and I sit up with him.
you sit up on the driver's seat. In between you and Mask is River, and he's got his little toys. Fireball. Just playing on the little part where usually the drivers will put their feet up and sort of rest the reins, and that carriage begins moving. The rest of you, as Ren hops up next to the kid, the other 3 carriages are still ready to go.
I look down at we and over at River, who is not occupied. Well, we should go with his mom. And I go over to where Lash, the cart she's on.
Lash and Webb's cart.
Yep.
Right. Lash looks down. She's like, "Oh, you happen to know one?"
Yes, if
And she
it's available.
doesn't make any gestures with the rope. She's just like, hold, and the horses like stop. She's like, hop on in the back. Anyone else? Looks towards you. Anyone else coming to mind? We have room for 2 more.
Derelict will go and hop in.
I'm already with Sayer and Midnight.
We would walk on over after Derelict and Balasa and just hop up in.
Alright.
Heave yourself up. I jump in as well.
This is the only case where splitting the party is okay.
Hey, you're just
We're
getting
not
inside of-
splitting the party. We're
We're
just in
like
different
20
wagons.
feet away
Correct.
in a caravan that's doing nothing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We're gonna die!
Oh
Alright, just for my notation, you're in the carriage with Lash and Webb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got Balasa and we followed.
And Derelict.
And Derelict. Okay, that one's full. The rest of you guys, Ren is in his with Mask and River. Sayer, there is the one driven by Midnight and Gadget. You went in that one?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm walking beside that one. On foot.
Alright. As you guys begin the journey, as you guys hop into your carriages, those in Lash and Webb's, you notice that the super tall blue guy is kind of like hunched and sitting on his, and he's got in front of him a small piece of wood and this like tiny knife, which is like a little triangular blade attached to a thin stick, and he's just like taking off little chunks of wood. Looks at you guys. Scoots closer to the front to make room. Keeps carving.
I settled down and pulled out knitting needles. Not knitting needles, they're just needles. And green string and begun stitching.
And
Alright.
naked your cloak.
Yes.
And then Sire, you hop into yours. And the front of it is open so you can see the drivers as well and have a quick conversation. The only person sitting in this carriage, as it has a bit of like utility things, like there's lots of rope and like the tarps and bedrolls that kind of stuffed under the seats, is the tiefling woman with her horns curled and pointed out in her back. And she looks at you. Hey.
Hey.
Cool. Midnight, are we going? He's like, yeah, all right.
My favorite NPC.
Carl, you head the way, eh?
Same.
The call of the centaur's like, on everyone. We're headed towards Meladir. We're going to Iron Rest. This way.
And he begins going forward. And Korai, since you're on foot, you start walking. You're standing next to the large, muscular form of Longhorn with his aptly named long horns, and Call up front. Call looks back to you and he's like,
You can go on with the carriages. If you get tired, I can carry you for a while. Not a big deal.
I can walk on foot for as long as anyone else, but I will take that up later.
Longhorn turns to you.
I prefer walking.
Cool. Walking's fun. It's whatever.
He just starts moving.
Yes.
I like we could, build a bigger carriage or anything, or get stronger horses, or
Knocking himself and start walking forward.
Someone's
And as he's walking forward, you know, like the loose stones, the compact old charcoal road, like press into the earth under him. Like it's like give with each of his steps. He's just like. And Colin turns around and is like,
Shut up! We do this every day. I'm just saying.
There's wood, trees. We have tools.
Just like talking back and forth. As you guys begin your first day's journey, heading towards now where the road will part and head north. So you're continuing in your normal path down the charcoal road, but with the intent of splitting away towards Meladir. Is there anything anyone wants to do or say during this day's travel? To remind you of what carriages you guys are in, you can shout across to other carriages, but they can't hear you as well as the ones in it. Balasso, we and Derelict, you are with Shout, Web, and Lash. Remember, Web is the grayish-skinned woman with the really tight braid and the web tattoos. Pretty obvious. Midnight, Gadget, and Shadow are with Sire. And then Ren, you're sitting up front with Mask and River, who is quite content with his toys. We just described where Corey is. So as you guys continue, your day's journey begins. What would you like to do as you guys are going?
I would like to investigate the arrow, just look at it, see if I can just figure out in my head how I could maybe remake it.
Sure.
Do I
Make an
roll?
investigation check.
Alright. 10.
10. I mean, you study it, and you can tell there's obvious difference between the two, but you're not sure what the feather is made out of, or the wood. Like, the wood it appears to be naturally straight, not like carved or treated to be that way. It's like a natural, thin shaft of wood, and it's like, wow, you don't know where to find that sort of thing. The arrowhead does seem to be handmade, and it's made out of just this very sharp flint, which is tipped with steel. It's a bit of a vicious type of arrow, as it's designed to impact, and then the head's designed to break. It's a tracking arrow to cause a lot of bleeding, so that if the creature gets away, they can follow the blood trail.
Would it cause more damage than a normal arrow?
Yeah. Over long term, it's mostly for like the tracking, but it would cause an additional, metagame-wise, about a D4 worth of bleeding damage for over like a minute.
Okay.
And then, internal problems if that heals up. It's a hunting designed arrow, to be specific.
Okay, so Ren would be a
But
little...
what you're hunting is up to you.
At some point during the day, Sire would try to talk to Gadget.
Gadget? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like very obviously looking at you, but every once in a while she'll look away and like her hands will be busy in her lap. And she'll look back at you. After about 45 minutes of this, Midnight turns and he's like, Gadget, it's not polite, Gage. Show them what you are doing. And she's like, but Dad! And he's like, no, but... And he's like, ah. And she kind of like leans and flops into the back of the carriage. And she sits down next to you and she's like, my dad wants you to see this. I don't.
What is it?
It's a small leather bound book, and you can see there's like, as you open it up, the pages are occasionally clumped together, and it's not so much the pages are pushed together as there are bits of the binding wedged open with bits of like dried wildflowers or like tiny, you can guess it's some sort of animal chip, but you're not sure like why that's saved. Although you take a second to double take like why did someone keep this? There's like orange and pink flakes, like there's little squiggles of coloring. Like this is weird. But you keep flipping through it, and there's just these odds and ends, like crushed acorn bits and like bird feathers. And then you take a second to look at the actual pages, and you see little designs, schematics. Like you see a glove that has gears sort of based around it that have a mechanism where they could twist and flip out blades hidden in compartments over the fingers and connect to make a long sword. Or you see like glasses that are able to magnify. Or there's just all these little designs in there like that. Like a boot that has this metal runner that goes on either side of the leg and connects to a cuff at the knee to prevent long-term fatigue. Just all these little sketches. And then next to them are all these natural designs. Like you see next to the one with the fatigue sort of knee shoe gadget is a springing deer, and there's lots of like notations on the muscle and like the vein and sort of tendon design of it, as well as with the sword. You see like a wolf's teeth or like a tiger's claw, just like these natural predators with concealed weapons inside. She takes notes from it, and then you flip near the back, and there's actually pictures of you guys. And beginning of like notes, not like great sketches of you, but like the basic design, like your hair coming up and the armor, the way you did your push-ups, or Ren's cloak and his bow. The one that has the most detail to it is of Derelict with the chains around the arm. And she's got a bunch of notes, like, could this be part of like the leg mechanism? Because it's using the back? Could it be sort of like a spinal thing? And you're just looking at all this incredibly detailed schematic. And the last one is Balasa. And the note next to it is just automatic tent, question mark?
Beautiful. Automatic tent. I wish.
Dang it, I want to
You take a look at her,
NPC.
and now you notice the outfit that Gadget's wearing. She's got these gloves that are thick leather and kind of big for her hands. The fingertips are worn off on the occasional finger, so like only like the middle and pinky of her left hand still have full finger of the glove. The rest are worn through. She's got these heavy set boots that appear to be hand-me-down from someone bigger, probably her dad. She's got these glass goggles resting on her collarbone, a leather strap connecting it behind her neck. And she's got loose, like, rags wrapped around her arms to act as a sleeve, like, slightly stitched up at the base of, like, a vest. All the clothes she's wearing seem repaired a lot and try to be tailored from hand-me-downs. You do notice that the main leather of her vest with the sewn sleeves is the same kind of leather that you now catch that Midnight wears. Can you make a perception check for me, please?
22.
22, okay. As you see the heavy leather of Midnight's jacket, on the back of it is an image of a reared horse. Its hands, sorry, not horse hands. Its front legs up in like sort of like a display showing the whole profile of the horse. And you take a second and you look at the sketchbook. When you wait, you look back and there's like flecks of gray on the back of his brown sort of tie. His treated leather jacket has flecks of gray, as well as his tattoos are still like very reflective, even as the passing light from the tree canopy shows even more crazy optical designs. At the back of his neck, you can see the never-ending staircase design, but on each stair step is another one inside of it. It's like the line of the stairs inside the stairs, and it's like, yeah. Take a second. With all the colors and the optical illusion, he's hard to look at for long in daylight. Before your eyes start to like involuntarily cross.
Just one of them.
You mindlessly flip to the book, and in the front it's like it has in sort of flowery script, property of with a line, and then a charcoal drawn like heavier handed sort of like impressed into it at some points, and like technical and others. Gidge.
Gidge, huh?
What? She looks down. Everyone's got a nickname, so I thought maybe I could have one for my nickname. Never had a real name, so I gave my own. They're all stuff. They call me Gadget. I call myself Gidge. Can I have my book
Sire
back?
closes the book and hands it to her and goes, I chose my name too.
What is your name? And Shadow, you now notice, is polishing this knife, which curves up. And she's just like cleaning it. She's like, Gadget, that's rude. She's like, sorry. We got like, Dad, how long? We have 9 days. We got like 9 days. Are we there yet?
I love her.
You've already looked through my entire sketchbook. Like, is there nothing else to do? Wait, we could. And Shadow's like, we're not going to throw rocks at squirrels. And she just visibly deflates.
I love her so much.
Sire chuckles to herself and goes, no, it's okay. My name is Sire.
Cool. She pulls out this little piece of charcoal, flips open her book, and like, how do you spell that?
So you start with an S, C, Y, A, I, R, E.
Quick underline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she puts it back. So what do you do for fun?
For fun.
What's that?
As you sit in this awkward silence, Shadow looks up and she's like,
Slayer actually gets a puzzled look on his face. She's like, what do I do?
Shadow looks towards Gadget. She's like, Guys, did you finish that thing you told me? The glove with dagger fingers? She's like, oh, I did. And she flips open, and you didn't catch this page. This is between 2 dried flowers that she pushes the 2 pages down and takes a little effort. And similar in design as the glove, which had the secreted blade entirely, is one that has little spring action like mechanisms at the knuckle. And when you straighten the finger, it can fire these little metal quills. She's like, awesome. The design is done, but we don't have any metal to work with. And Shadow's like, well, I'll have to buy some in the next town. It's not called Iron Rest for nothing. Iron Rest? I hate Iron Rest. And you hear Midnight from the front. Darling, we are going to Iron Rest because it's the quickest way out of the Empire. You know this is our preferred route. Fine, Dad.
Oh, I love her so much.
To the other carriage, we're going to go to Ren and then hop to this side of the table, which sort of borders. Ren, about 40 minutes into the first leg of the journey, River's toys have bored him, and he's just kind of like hanging off half the front of the carriage. And whenever his arms swing out, he tries to like flick the horse, but he can't quite reach it. And eventually he like hits some hair of the horse's tail, and he's like, and just tries to flick it. And the mask the entire time is completely still, doesn't even look at you. Just covered in wraps, like it's like to the skin. You can see contour of the face, you can see musculature of like the throat and the shoulders and chest, the forearm. You can even see pick out some veins on his hand. It's just like this close, tight bandage. He just sits there, perfectly still, driving the carriage. Even as the carriage like bumps over rocks and things, he's just perfectly postured.
So Aaron's gonna put the arrow back in his quiver. We go down to River and be like, so River,
yeah?
How old are you? Three?
I'm 4.
You're 4 years old.
Yep.
It's pretty young.
It's kind of like, this one is arm. I'm 4.
You having fun?
No.
No? Do you want to play a little game?
Yes! And he perks up, puts his arms against the little railing, like shoots himself up. Yes.
So, we're going to play this game called I Spy.
Oh, this game. He kind of slumps.
Do you have any other games you want to play?
No, we can play that one. I spy with my little eye. Something that is... Perception check for this kid. Not bad. Something that is shiny. You can make a perception check.
Oh man.
22.
22. He's looking over at Midnight's carriage, and you can see bits of Sire's like sword that's at her waist sticking out of the canvas, and he's staring right at it.
Is it the sun?
No! I didn't say bright, I said shiny.
Is it... Do I see anything else shiny?
Just, I mean, there's like Longhorn. He's kind of getting a little sweaty.
Is it that big horned guy over there?
Ew, gross, no!
Would it be that sword?
Alright, back to the other carriage with 4. We have... Yeah, Veloso, we and Derelict. So you 3 in your carriage shout as about 30 minutes in, finished the small wooden sculpture I was working on. And it looks like a lizard with a few modifications. The lizard has like these meaty, powerful legs with these big talons on it and this long tail that kind of turns back. And it has this head with a bit of a like a home base, like a baseball home base sort of shaped top of its head with little spikes coming down from the edges of it. Its mouth is a bit open, just enough to show details of crazy rows of teeth. And it's got these arms with 2 main fingers and 1 opposing finger. And they reach out a little bit and it's like this sort of roaring like pose. He finishes it and starts going in. He puts it in a small pouch and he pulls out a smaller knife that looks like that thing the dentist scrapes your teeth with. And he starts carving in little details of eyes and of scales, and like these little ridges on the claws and talons of the creature. And he looks over and you guys are all staring at him. He's like, what?
We're just watching him intently.
What kind of creature? Have you seen one before? Or did you make it up?
Like blows a little sawdust off the tip of it. I've seen it before.
To where? Do I recognize it?
Make a nature check at disadvantage.
Yeah, I probably don't know what it is.
Hence the disadvantage.
Well, not one.
You're like,
Don't know what it is.
you're very familiar with lizards like salamanders, geckos, Gila monsters, and the like. And look at this thing, and the way it's designed, its proportions, it should be standing. Lizards don't stand on back legs. Like, it's not a dragon because it doesn't have any wings. It's got a dragon-like face, and you're like, oh, what is this thing? You can't figure it out. As to answer your question, like, the road's a big place. You see lots of weird things. And on the palm of his hand, it looks like not super big, but then realizing his hand is like really big. It's pretty large, decently, like the size of that little toy that River had. It's about 3 times the size of that little panther thing that he had in his hand. And he starts going in and carving these little vein details on the leg of this creature as it, splits off into these taloned, forked feet.
What are you going to do with it when you finish?
Well, I'm gonna paint it. I'm gonna give it to River.
Oh.
He breaks them a lot. I'm always making these things.
So it's nice to keep making them even when he breaks them.
Pats off some sawdust on it.
Sorry, what was that?
I said it was nice that you make them.
Yeah, I'll try.
And then Lash and Webb in the front, the open of the canopy, can hear this. And Lash, as she has one arm, in that sling, the other she just has resting on the driver's foot rest thing. And Webb has the reins, and she's steering the horses and stuff. Lash looks back. Oh, come on, Shout, you big softy. Hits him in the shoulders, like, ah! Almost drops it, catches it. And looks at Lash like, what? And he sets it down on his leg.
Do we have any more paint?
Oh, I think we have some green left. Do you need green?
Yeah, I can do green.
He points it to where he's like,
Green? Yes?
Green.
No, yes.
Is there any open space in this carriage that we're in?
yeah, the back is open, the front is open.
Okay, then.
Little bits in between the metal bars that reach over the carriage. The carriage itself is wood based and has those metal bars that reach over it, and the one that runs the length at the top of each of these little archways, and over that is what the canopy is. There's also a couple little little epaulet thingies run over the metal bars that are stitched little bits of cloth to the canvas to hold it in place.
Okay, well, then with that, we just gotta kind of nod, say green, and then hold out his own hand and say, and a little cast minor illusion, and just put the copy of the figurine there, but colored the way that we thinks it should be.
And he just bends down. He sets it to the side and just comes in and starts scrutinizing. He's like,
Holy. Oh. You're just a little bit darker.
We cast it again.
the doctor's like, he takes his figure and puts it next to yours.
What?
I'd say make an intelligence check to see how identical you get it, because minor illusion takes a bit of focus, and you are a wee lad. Wait, hold on.
No!
That's an 11.
An 11? It's close enough to get the major details, but that tiny vein stuff, the little scale stuff he put on it. You don't quite have that, but the shape is there, and it's really good. And he's just staring at these things. He looks at you guys and he's like,
They're quite impressive.
This kid's awesome. He scoots closer to we, and he pulls up this small little,
keepsake little lockbox, and he pops it open, and inside he's got a bunch of other little creatures. He's got one that looks like a snake, but at the end of it, it has an opening where these 4 tentacles come out in this beak opens up and has got little dribbles of liquid coming off, and he pulls it out and puts it on the seat next to him, next to you. And he reaches in and he pulls out one that's a large furred bear creature reaching forward, but its arms and face are feathered and has this bird-like face, an open beak mouth. And he puts it down and he reaches and he pulls a small dragon. It has horns that reach back and out, and then horns that reach down coming off his jaw. Has his massive wings coming off, and he's like, okay, this one, brown. This one, brown. This one, red.
Is the dragon the
Red.
one?
The dragon's red, yes.
Do I recognize?
Make it an intelligence check.
Maybe.
Oh, make a nature check. I
It
don't know what's
sounds
going on.
familiar to me.
Yeah,
Nature?
nature check.
11.
You've heard a lot of stories based on fire things, and this is just the generic what a red dragon looks like, because fire. It's red. So like, can you make a perception check for me?
Yep. That is 14.
14. About an hour into the day, you're just kind of looking around, watching as we create small illusions colored of this guy of shouts different figurines, and you're just like just stunned at it, and you're just like making little notes on a piece of parchment, and you're just like getting ready to actually paint these things, and he keeps pulling out different kind of creatures and monsters and little heroes. He's just full. This little chest is full of these little wooden figures, and he just wants to see what they look like colored. And just like. Yeah. But as you sit there, kind of just enjoying the ride, thinking about whatever it is, you think about. You catch Webb looking at you from like the side, and as soon as you look at her, she looks away, and she doesn't. Nothing else from her the rest of the day. Just once you catch her looking at you.
Earlier in the ride, he would have pulled out the cloak again that he got from the hag and just examined it and just tried putting it on.
You adjust it on, and it's pretty comfortable. And you sit there, and you feel something leaving you and going into the cloak. Not uncomfortable. Then you feel something come from the cloak and into you. And you're like, this is weird. And after about 30 minutes, all of a sudden, as you attune to this, you can see all around you. Like this entire 360 peripheral vision around you is processed in your mind. You can see Balasa at the same time. You can see from your natural eyes watching shower. You can see the front of the carriage. You can see out of the little gaps of the canopy in the wood, and you can see bits of rock and like little bugs and like things crawling in the grass. You can see everywhere around you as you have attuned to the robe of eyes.
That is so cool.
What the
I didn't have
heck? The rogue
I
can
did
see
not
everything.
get time to get to a printer to give you the card for this. I'll print it out for you so you can put it in your sheet. But just so you
Oh
know,
my goodness.
these are the advantages of having this robe. Number one, you get advantage on all wisdom checks relating to sight, as well as perception checks, just in general.
Ooh.
You also have dark vision out to a range of 120 feet.
So that's like superior dark vision?
Mm-hmm. You can see invisible creatures and objects, as well as into the ethereal plane to a range of 120 feet once a day for 5 minutes.
Sorry, say that one again?
Invisible creatures and objects, as well as the ethereal plane, you can see 120 feet into for 5 minutes once a day. There's also something to be aware of. If someone casts a light spell, you become blinded for a minute, or at the end of each of your turns in combat, you can make a Constitution saving throw to end the blindness. Which is why when you cast Dancing Lights, the hag freaked out.
Makes sense.
But as you can start seeing everywhere, the pattern of the eyes remain flat to the robe. They don't come out or stick out. They just stay designs on it. As you guys are sitting there, and you watch Derek put this thing on, just sits there. After time passes, you hear him go, and you're like, what?
Sorry, my leg fell asleep.
Yeah, Melissa, what are you making? I know you're...
What was my perception check for earlier?
You get advantage. Oh, that was to
No.
see Webb looking at
okay.
you.
Okay.
Which I guess you would see with advantage now. Which you can re-roll for advantage to see if you get any more information out of me.
That is a 19.
A 19. You do know that as she glances towards you, she's looking towards your hands, very concerned.
Concerned.
Because they're wrapped?
She just looks at it concerned. And then looks away when you catch her eye. Which, as she, whips away, she's trying to be all nonchalant, but her braid, whiplashes out. It's pretty obvious. Balasa, before you got interrupted and jabbed yourself, what are you doing on your club?
I am stitching shapes that could appear like words to somebody, but I'm just somewhere on the edge.
Just like a specific pattern, like runing, essentially?
It says something, but
Gotcha.
someone would have to kind of know it.
Words of some kind.
Yes.
Anything else you guys want to do in your carriage before we bounce to Kore?
I have one last thing I want to do.
Okay, we'll get to you after them then. And Kore. We'll bounce back to you.
Just constantly creating new images, different colors.
And you shout, his huge, 8-foot frame just stooped down to you, watching as you create these images. Every time, just this expression of bewilderment and splendor. Just. He's just blown away by this. Just. Alright, Kore, as you are walking, you're traveling at a carriage's pace. Please make a Constitution saving throw.
Woohoo.
Constitution.
Points of exhaustion.
Oh boy.
Alright.
That's totally cocked.
Wow.
That's
That's
hilarious.
a 5.
It's 5. As you're moving, the carriage moves for 2 hours, the first leg of this journey, and you're just, it's like the strong power walk. We're talking mid-20s moms in the suburbs power walk.
Beautiful.
And you're just keeping stride, and Longhorn is walking pretty casually, but his gait is just big enough to keep up, and Call is fine because he's a horse.
It was Call's the centaur.
Call's the centaur, Longhorn is the half-minotaur.
Okay. She's gonna call. Oh gosh, she's going to
do.
call out help. Would
Those of you
I?
at home, Jenica hates puns. Here come the comment section.
Would it be alright if I got to ride now?
Call looks back at you. Yeah, sure, it's fine.
Okay.
He slows down a little bit and he reaches out a hand to you. You take it and he just pulls you up. He's surprisingly strong.
Okay.
You just plop on sideways or riding like a horse or backwards. What do you want to do?
Side saddle.
Side saddle?
Mhm.
Okay.
Hang over his back like a saddle.
Like a rug.
We're eating well tonight.
Become one with the saddle.
Okay. She'll just sit there and be like,
So, how long have you been on the road for? Like, what is your story? How did you get here?
I've been on the road all my life.
Your life?
Is raised up part of a herd, we would always be moving. Till one day I found the caravan. They took me in, I stayed.
So have you traveled just around the Fell Sands or anywhere else?
Been mostly on the Fell Sands. We did travel once out to Compass Island, but beyond that I've always been here on the continent I was born. We met with Midnight once on the road back when he was younger, before Little Gadget was born, and I have been part of this caravan for most of the life I choose to remember.
You choose to remember.
Of course. Why do you think we go by these different names? We bury what we were before because our new purpose is to help others find someplace safe.
Find someplace safe. What about you, Longhorn?
What?
How did you get in with this new family, as it were?
Well, I started growing horns and a tail when I was about 4. I was also about the size of my dad when I was 4. So, town thought I was demon-touched, threw me out.
Where are you from, originally, if you remember?
And someplace doesn't care for people.
Huh. It was... I know the feeling.
Look, after the skull-faced freaks were taken out of towns, didn't mean people slept easy. You see a thing like me With all these weird hairs and these things,
And he flicks his horns.
people don't give you a second thought.
They think you're a monster.
They're not wrong.
I understand that.
I can break down a brick wall with my head.
I could if I was. I could as well, but different circumstances.
He kind of picks up pace and starts looking at your forehead.
What's your head?
Unless all that hair is super hard.
Trust me.
Wouldn't try it.
Alright, well, trust me. Different circumstances, not right now.
I mean, if there's a brick wall, we need to break it, and it's, hey, Longhorn, use your head. Or, hey, I didn't catch your name. Corey, use your head. And we're gonna have to vote on it.
I would
Some sort of
more
like
than
government
happily-
system of fairness and equality. They probably don't pick me.
I would more
because
than
I
happily
have
let you do
experience.
it.
I'm gonna say it. I don't want any people to hurt their heads, but I've got.
You can now, as he gestures, he's like a regular-ish person face. His teeth are a bit wider, his eyes are a bit more sunken, his ears are kind of big but still human in their general shape. He's got this sticking out bulbing nose, kind of like, you guys say John Bernthal, the actor, kind of like that strong, out sticking nose, but not quite hideous, you know?
Right.
It's got this certain aesthetic to it. He's got this wide chin and this weirdly round and like swooping up jaw, as if the jawline itself was like a little wave. And he's just like, and he taps his forehead, and you can see part of the skull is raised a little bit from where the horns come out, near the temples of the head.
I got an inside helmet.
And you hear this like half sigh, half from Call, like,
Here we go with the helmet again.
Sorry, I must have touched
For the
a
last
nerve.
time, Longhorn, if someone were to hit you there, it would still hurt.
Well, you haven't done it yet.
and they begin this little back and forth.
He might be getting close though. She likes this.
Call's like, we still have a day before we get to Iron Rest. Longhorn is like, his foot starts hit a little heavier. Now, Ren, you said you want to do something before we...
One more thing. While we're still playing I Spy, Ren's going to say, I spy with my little eye something stiff.
River's looking around. He's like looking up, looking down, looks at the wheels of the car. He's like,
try to the left of you.
Turns to the left.
The trees! Close, but not quite.
The branches?
Really close.
The clouds!
You got it. You're really close.
You're
You're almost there.
It's so hard.
You're almost there.
Can you give me a hint?
It's touching you. On your left.
The carriage?
Even closer. Getting warmer.
He looks over. You see Mask's eyes like wide roll. The River just stares up at Mask. He's like, got her on intelligence check. That's a 7.
Oh no.
The horses? It takes about 30 minutes before he figures it out. And when he does, like, he's finally like, it's Mask!
You're right,
And
good
as
job.
he does, Mask like takes one hand off the reins and like,
I'm gonna turn to Mask and be like, funny kid, right? Could I get the recipe for what you made for breakfast? That was really tasty.
eyebrows lower and furrow.
I was told you made breakfast.
Reaches into the carriage behind him. Pulls a piece of paper. Writes on it. And hands it to you.
Thank you. I stick it in my bag.
Do you read it?
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah, it says, I'm driving.
I'm driving? Could you give it to me later, though?
He shrugs, tilts his head to the side, and you can tell, like, from the motion of the wraps, there's like a bit of a smile somewhere underneath all that. And like, then he just nods.
Thanks. I want to take this home one day and then show it to my family. I want to, like, come back and like show him all this cool food that I was able to eat.
And looks at River. River looks at you and he's like,
What? Can a guy not have a family?
no, it's just we had leftovers today. I don't know if I'd call that cool. Sometimes we get good like stuff when we go to town. Sometimes midnight, we get some pastries. Sometimes we get like extra bread. Sometimes we get cheese. Mask also smiles. He says cheese.
Aww.
His eyes go
Hey,
over.
Balasa.
So you
Not
like
your
cheese?
people.
Cheese is the best. I like cheese too. It's so good.
Better than bread.
Wait. Once you put cheese on the bread, put it over the
His eyes get like so big they're about to fall out of his face.
Oh my gosh.
Mask then puts one hand to his face and is like,
You see, my family
I
doesn't get
enjoy
to eat
this.
this tasty food very often, so I want to be able to bring something back for them.
Mask shrugs. River is watching birds.
Can I recognize what kind of bird that he's looking at?
Sure. What kinds of birds while you roll?
What kind of check would that be?
Nature.
Nature. That's a 10.
You recognize no birds then.
There's a couple finches.
Winged
That's fine.
creatures.
Do you know what kind of birds those are?
River looks up. No.
Those are called finches.
Fishes?
Sure.
Finches.
Yeah,
What?
it's a type of bird.
No, birds are birds. Fishes are fishes.
But don't think too hard about it, kid.
As you're trying to explain, you see the centaur slow down. Call is like, we're going to take a break. As you now notice, as he's saying that to everyone, the forest line is starting to clear up ahead.
We're only about a day away from Iron Rest, which means we're only 4 hours away from the border. Everyone take a break, stretch your legs, we're gonna get back on the road.
The carriage is all sort of slow to a stop. Lash turns to a Webb on that carriage. She's like, I'm gonna go check River. Can you take care of the horses? And Webb's like, yes. Lash hops off as the carriage slows to no speed and rushes over to your end. She's like, come on, River. And River's like, yay! And like climbs over you and like jumps over. And Mom like, yeah! Half catches him, half falls over, sets him down.
Oh.
And the caravan slows to a stop. People start getting out of carriages. Shout with his box of things, rushes over to Mask's tent, and he's like, Mask, I need the paint. And Mask is like, there's another small box. Shout takes it and rushes over to you. He like, sits down, starts pulling out paints. He's like, you're gonna help? Alright. He holds it up, and they start like painting. And he's starting on the weird like lizard thing that using with the big legs and the horns and the teeth, the almost dragon thing.
The pointy gecko.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And as you start painting, everyone kind of slows down and gets out, and you see that the carriage is actually like pulled into a tight circle. Everyone sits around within it. Midnight hops off, and he goes over towards you, Corey, as you slide off of Call. You're a little saddle sore, to be honest. It's not so great on the haunches.
Yeah, I figured.
You can come into my carriage. There's plenty of space.
So that's the one you were in, right?
That would.
Or you can go on
Right.
Foots. You now see as Foot hops off of his. He like punches aside the red-headed dwarf. Just kind of punches aside. He's like, yeah. It's like this clump fall out of the back of Soldier and Sharp, like wrestling. Like, and they kind of hit the ground. There's a clatter of both their equipment and themselves as they roll. Sharp kicks out his leg and puts it on the ground, bringing his shoulders up, pins down Soldier, and he's got his arms behind his back and his legs like in a knot. He's like, yeah, come on! Sharp's like, falling is not your advantage, friend. And he's like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense! You're still losing. Foot comes over and kind of kicks Soldier. He's like, come on, Foot! Whose side are you on? I'm on the winning side. He starts walking away from his carriage as everyone...
Wait, Corey sees that?
Yeah, everyone sees
She
it. It's like
audibly
the
is laughing. She's just like...
As everything gathers up, midnight sort of comes towards where you guys are, more or less.
I will go in your carriage. That would be fine. That's Actually, would probably be better for me to save energy.
Yeah, actually, so we have a couple things we'll talk to you about. We're going to be crossing over the Tri-Reach border. Which means we're going to have to stake out for about an hour to make sure the patrol passes before we cross over. When we do, we have to go full speed. We have to leave the carriages behind. So we have to carry everything we can hold and get to our carriages in the Meladir Empire.
Do you leave behind the
Interesting.
characters?
You see Gadget sitting close to where he is with her book open. She's like, this isn't our first time.
Well, I've never done this before.
And as she says that, everyone kind of like stops and looks at Gadget. She's like, oh, crap. And Midnight's like, Gadget, we talked about this. You don't. And he walks over towards her. And they kind of have a hushed conversation. Perception checks if you want to hear.
Yep.
Everyone grabs their dice.
Come on.
17.
Gosh dang it.
16.
10, 12.
22.
My goodness.
I heard a 16,
17.
17, 16, 22.
My cloak is made of eyes, not ears.
I can see everything!
What did you say?
Do you want lunch? I can see everything!
Turn down the radio. I
Admittedly,
can't
you
see.
cannot
Too
hear.
busy seeing. I
Have you
can't
ever
hear.
done that though in the car? Like turn on the radio?
Cut that down. I can't see. So you can focus more.
For sensory overload.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Anyway, those who can hear it, I would ask those who failed to please leave the table.
Who failed?
Wait, what's the DC?
I believe these three would.
So 12.
16.
Dang
or
it!
higher.
Oh man, I get a C.
Bye, guys.
Wow.
It's
How
time
far
to
do we have
bring
to
out
go
my
to,
Just
like,
so you
not
can't
pass
hear
the
it?
perception check?
notepad.
Just so you can't hear what it is.
Write it down. Write it down.
I'm gonna. Gosh.
I have wanted to do this since we started. I love abusing
Secrets.
As Midnight kind of crouches down to where Gadget's sitting, he kind of puts his arm on his shoulder, brings his face close to his ear, and those you guys can pick up a little bit. It's like, girl, you know we can't talk about this because if we're thinking about it when we cross, they can find us. You know they can hear it, so if we don't say it, then we don't. And she responds, if we don't say it, we don't think it, which means then we'll be safe. Exactly, girl. So just don't say it. It's what's on your mind. We're just going to Iron Rest. Okay, Dan. Okay. You can come back! Did they leave the building?
No, I just went upstairs.
While this is all happening, Ren wants to go to call.
Mhm.
I'm talking. Hey, you guys wouldn't happen to run into any glowing balls anywhere in your journey? Otherwise, maybe ideas balloons.
I'm not sure who got the better deal
Heard of a
here.
balloon before?
Oh, that's it.
Information or potato chips.
Chomp.
Sorry.
Dragon flies overhead and y'all die. So food.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm kind of hungry. Okay, so Ren, you walked up to call. You check to see if the camera's fine. Kind of bump on your way up. Probably not a big deal. Okay. He looks at you. What?
Have you ever heard of these creatures?
Yeah!
Have you
Yes,
ever,
I have. Wounds are rare.
What do you mean it's off?
have you ever seen it
It's a bug in.
on your travels?
Personally, I've only seen them in. Well,
It's not plugged in.
there was one place I saw it, but it's not exactly the place that I would want to send, so
Yeah, it's dead.
it's
Cool.
not the best of places.
Switch that one.
Yeah, we got the backup camera right there. Technical difficulties are too. I'm doing a face, but there's no camera pointing towards me.
Can't see.
Hey!
Do we need to plug it into a different one?
No, it just the cord fell out.
Just do a quick camera check. Are these other ones alive still?
Yeah. Let's take a look.
Yay!
Yes.
Just
Yes. So, where might this dangerous place be?
Near the Great Torn Lake, there's
A small shrine somewhere along its borders. Sometimes they show up there.
what's so about these things? Blooms are bright and pleasant, and we enjoy them. Other things enjoy them too.
Like what?
I don't know what they're called. They are massive lizard things. You know, Shout. He's the one that knows many creatures. If you could ask him, he would probably know what it's called.
Okay. Thank you.
They are like dragons with no wings.
Okay. Thank you for answering this. I'll go talk to Shout then.
We rest for an hour and then we can make arrows, eh?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me too. Alright, anyone else? What do you want to do in this quick breather?
We would like to go over to Gadget.
Are you still helping Shout, or you want to wander
We're
over?
helping Shout, but the moment that there's an opening or like he is going to sit down and start painting things, it doesn't need.
I'm gonna say, as you like are trying to pay attention to other places, Shout's like,
I got it, you can go.
Okay, then we just kind of wander over towards Gadget.
alright. You guys are sitting, drawing on a book. She looks at you. She looks at your left eye, your right eye. Blinks, squints. Left eye, right eye. What in the world?
At
She
that
starts making notes in her book.
moment, I
Oh, no.
say, and my eyes switch colors.
So
What?
she looks up after taking notes. She's like, drops the book and a little charcoal pencil flies. As it hits the ground, you see a little tip break off. She's like, no.
We pull out our own clean dagger, and we just say, pick up the pencil. We can fix that. And we start trying to sharpen it.
Well, I think you can. What? 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 And she points at her eyes, then your eyes.
Oh,
What?
Yeah, I drop thaumaturgy, and they switch back.
Good.
And
She kind of stands up, puts her arms out. She's like, not dizzy. Not thirsty. And she kind of sits back down slowly. What in the world are you doing?
You're sharpening your pencil.
Oh my gosh.
So,
She like lies down on the ground, her head like facing towards you, kind of like a psychiatrist sort of deal. She's just like laying there.
while she's laying there breathing, we're gonna just say, so, who will hear us?
What?
You know, if we say it.
She kind of sits up, looks around, sees her dad over talking to Soldier and Sharp, trying to pry him apart with foot kicking Soldier still. Whacks foot and keeps trying to pull him apart. A Longhorn slowly walking over towards them. Did you hear us?
Hear what?
Oh, you heard it, you should know. It's not that they'll hear our words like we're saying, but they'll hear our thoughts.
Who's they?
She pulls out her sketchbook, kind of flips to a page. Now, I've never met him myself, but Pa calls him the Tri-Reach.
They can hear thoughts?
That's just what it says. And he's never wrong.
There you go.
Thank you. She flips over to a page and starts looking at you, and then the page, and then you, while her hand is moving, then back to the page, then back to you. Very obvious that she's drawing you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this feels weird because I'm not right-handed. But she is.
How?
I don't know. No, we're supposed to think we're headed to unrest. We can't think about border. We can't think about soldiers. We can't think about lunch. Oh, she's like, her stomach. She looks over, and as you look where she's looking, Mask has like this little table set up. He's cutting some vegetables, sliding them into a bowl, and like pulling out other like ingredient things, and he's making lunch. She's like, oh, lunch is so non-like.
Cora's also gonna sit down somewhere in the shade, and she's gonna pull out a book as well, and a pencil or a charcoal stick, and start drawing.
Sure.
She's gonna start drawing Longhorn.
Okay.
She's just, it's very, I don't know what even is he?
Who does Balasasi not interacting with anyone?
That would be Webb. as she's standing next to a horse and just looking at it. Lash is walking with River as he's running around and stuff, and Shout eventually stands up and he has the small green lizard monster and he walks over to River and he gives it to him, and River just freaks out and he picks it up and he's like, yeah, starts running around, and Lash kind of gives Shout a hug, and Shout kind of blushes, like a little purple on the cheek, and he just shrugs and walks slowly back to the chest, sits down, starts on the next one, as there's a little white rock that he has this side with the colors that we helped him palette and match. He kind of matches it and starts working on the next one. The red dragon is the next one he starts working on.
What about anyone in the group?
In your group?
Derelict's not
That's a
interacting
good
with
question.
anyone.
Neither's Kore. She's alone.
And Sire, what, exercising?
Staring at the sky.
Well,
pretty
the
blue
clouds,
sky.
but the sky.
I walk over to Derelict.
Hi.
Lovely choice.
I thought you rolled for that. I stand up and walk.
2.
You're just kind of leaning by the carriage we were in.
As walking up, approaching Derelict, I reach into my pouch and pull out the crystal, not crystal thing, and approach saying, so, what do you think of this? It's an interesting thing that feels magical, it feels cold. Here, touch it. And I hand it over.
Do I notice anything about it?
The thing?
Yeah.
I'd say make a straight intelligence check, as metals aren't really your thing in the process. You're more of a product kind of guy.
13.
13. As you're looking at it, you just think, I don't know much about like making metals. As you talked about ore before, so you start thinking of the things you do know. You flip through your mind of precious metals, gold, silver, platinum, electrum, all that jazz. Start thinking of like jewelry, gems, diamonds, rubies, all that stuff. And as you think about it, things that you have acquired over the years, none of it is really close enough to what you're holding. Maybe if it's an ore, it's a precious metal that needs to be refined a bit. But it's got those weird colors in the bottom that don't add up. It's just... it's a mystery, and you've exhausted all the thought processes you can get to, and it's just eluding you. Maybe you've just never seen it before. Not like
Yeah, I don't know. He just kind of tosses it back.
Don't actually throw that.
No.
I mean, that would probably more smash my computer than the thing smash.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we just whatever, and I just put it back in my bag. So what do you think of? I guess what's happened yesterday.
Like find the kid? Well, we found him, didn't we?
Yeah. Or just the other things that happened.
Like...
I don't know, from the witch in the woods, the Kore going beast mode.
Well, the witch is dead, and Tiger Lady's back. So, what?
I don't know. Just find all of this very curious and strange. But I guess strange is normal.
Says the rug.
What a comeback.
You can call me Rug. Whatever you want.
Air horn.
So, what do you think of the fact that we're going on a detour this direction? You wanted to go on.
I'm just keen to dodge the patrol. So this seems like the better option.
I can see that. Why do you want to avoid the patrol so much?
They and I are
Means that-
quite chummy.
Chummy.
Their job and my job, let's say, clash just a little bit.
I won't ask what your job is, but what do you like about your job?
Well, if you're curious about my job, let me just say you found me in a cage.
Yeah, I can gather that much.
So they don't really like what I do.
Like taking things. Moving things. People's things. You can neither deny nor affirm. I don't care. I guess we just both shrug.
As the symphony of shrugs continues, anyone else want to do stuff? Ren, I think you have something you want to do?
Yep, I was gonna go over to, what was his name? Start with an SH, I know that.
Shout?
Shout. Yeah, I'm gonna go over to Shout, ask him about the creatures.
As you walk up, Shout is in the middle of finishing one of the horns, and it's like red mixed with like dirt brown, sort of like a darker crimson sort of color. He's applying it to the horn slowly, and as he does, he turns to get more light and he sees you. Finishes the stroke. Begins to sit down. What's up?
I got a question.
Okay. He takes the brush, puts it in a little like water skin, spins it around. As he pulls it out, he kind of squeezes the paint and water off of it. A little color, pigment of red remaining on his fingers. He puts it down. What do you need?
I was talking to Call over there. He's telling me about the Great Torn Lake.
Okay.
Told me there's some scary creatures over there. Big lizard-like creatures. I was wondering if you knew exactly what those were.
And he told you to ask me?
Said you knew a lot about creatures.
I know creatures, but he knows the lake. Where we found them.
Really?
Alright. I'm gonna do this because you saved River. But we found Call and the remains of his herd. There was definite evidence of a Tarask attack. Those things ripped his herd apart. Call was unconscious for a week when we first found him.
What exactly is a Tarask?
Have you ever imagined what it's gonna look like when the world ends?
I've seen it.
Yeah, give it horns. That's a Tarask. Like a dragon with no wings and no mercy. You can't talk to them. All they want to do is eat. They have these two monster horns sticking out of their head. And they big long legs defying what all the other dinosaurs can do. Fast, they're huge. Magic literally bounces off of them. As do arrows.
That doesn't sound very good.
You think?
Yeah, that doesn't sound great at all.
And he rummages into his little box, and he pulls one out. I don't have a Tarask mini because I am poor, but I have the book, so I'll show you the picture of what these creatures look like. Luckily, it's alphabetical.
Alphabetized.
Tarasks.
Oh boy. It's like a... Whoa.
Tarasks are the only creature that hunts dragons for food. Is that everything you want to ask me?
This... Ren was gonna ask something right away. I'm just writing it down. Any ideas how you might maybe fight one?
With an army.
An army.
Or like 2 armies. Like 2.5 armies.
Well, that's reassuring. Thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice you were painting these little figurines.
Yep.
Could I maybe request one from you, or
No.
2? I could pay you a little bit, not much, but...
Make a persuasion check.
Persuasion. 13.
How much you talking?
I really don't have much, but I have a little girl back where I come from, and I kind of want to bring her some stuff back. So, do you know what a loom is?
Yeah.
Think you could make one of a loom?
How much we talking?
I mean, all I have right now is 1 gold and 16 copper. It's not much,
I'll
but
go for 5 copper.
5 copper. I can do that.
Got yourself a deal. And he sticks his hand out. As you shake it, you got a little bit of paint on your hand from his, and he stands up and walks away.
Grade A prankster.
Alright, everybody else, what you doing during the break before the caravan begins again? I don't know, I did that voice. It was just kind of force of habit.
Do I see where we and Gadget are?
Yeah. It's not like a huge area. It's carriage is closed in on.
Do I see her sketchbook?
You see her holding a book.
Does it look like similar in make to mine?
No.
Okay.
Yours is much nicer and like delicately crafted with skill. Hers is like spare parts thrown together. Hers is the used auto dealer, and yours is like a sports car. The sports car of sketchbooks.
Okay.
That's a thing.
Corey is gonna go and find Sayer again.
Okay. She's just chilling, staring at the sky, right?
Yeah, well, if you are perceptive enough, you will notice there's like a tear or two rolling down her face as she's staring at it.
Wow.
She's just gonna. So she's gonna go up and be like, Saya, do you know where?
She don't do that. Wipes the tear away from her. What?
Are you alright?
I'm fine. What do you want?
I was just asking if you know when we're going to start again.
No, I don't. I don't know when we're starting again.
Are you sure you're okay?
I'm fine. Sarah walks towards Midnight's carriage wagon.
Sure. And you start
Corey,
walking away.
inspects the sky like, what the?
Make a perception check.
Okay. That's 24.
See some
Dang it.
little birds fluttering around in the trees.
It's this guy.
Alright, as you're listening to the bird, just hey, get up! And like, you're like, as Carl starts walking around, we gotta go. Hour's up. And everyone's like, and they get up and like dust off their pant legs and start walking back to the carriages.
Forgot we were supposed to make arrows, but that's for a later date.
As you guys all get back in the same carriages, are you guys gonna mix it up?
Going into midnight.
Just hopping back in the same one.
Alright, where are you going?
Midnight.
Midnights? Okay, so Cora is with
So
Sayer.
just hop into the back with Sayer.
Much to Sayer's chagrin, Cora hops into the back after that conversation. Just I don't know
She's
how you felt
keeping
about it.
kind of a close eye on her now, but probably not
But
enough
as
for her
the
to
caravan begins to move again, all 4 carriages come pretty close in the road, and Midnight hops off of his and stands in the middle of them. So everyone has a view, whether through the canopy or whatnot, and he looks to everyone. We're 1 hour away from the border, which means we're going to stash the horses and the wagons roughly an hour and a half from it. So we're going to move in 30 minutes. We're going to detach the horses and use those to speed across the border. Once we begin, we will rush the whole way. If you get separated, meet at Iron Rest. Y'all understand? Everyone's kind of nods. Yes. Alright. Let's get there and we'll organize when we get to the stopping point for our second rest, and then we're going to rush to Iron Rest. Remember that. We're headed to Iron Rest. Alright, let's go. And he hops back up onto his carriage, and everyone begins moving again. Anything I want to do in the brief 30 minutes we have before the next thing?
I'm gonna try to teach Gidge how to roll a coin across her fingers.
Yeah, she's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Oh, she's way smart. You like show her twice, and she messes up on one and catches it. She goes messing up on the second, and as it drops, she catches it with her knuckles and rolls it on the next hand. And then drops it and rolls it again.
Yeah, you're
Drops
pretty
it and rolls it
good
again.
there.
Drops it and rolls it again.
How do you do that?
I look at Gidge and like, weren't you watching?
Yes, but that doesn't mean that
It's
I'm
real easy.
dexterous.
You just gotta guess when it's gonna come next, and you just gotta boop, and you just gotta boop, and boop, boop, and she on the last finger flicks it to you. Ding! Oh, you're gonna start to say.
Oh no! Hey, that's not good.
D12 ready for damage. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Oh no.
Magical coin.
You take 10 damage from a coin.
15.
15. Just you catch it. As you open your hand to like look at it, drops, and good, you catch it again. It's just a little. What'd you give her? Oh, you didn't give her a coin.
I didn't give her a coin.
Just
but
more copper.
Like
It's
coppers,
a
yeah.
little circle with a square cut out of it.
Okay.
But kind of spanning in weird thirds. So it's like a circle with a square, and the design is in thirds around it. It's kind of confusing. Is a staff, sword, and a hammer.
So as she maneuvers to try to catch it, she's gonna accidentally like activate her claws because she's just gonna be like.
Gage is like. She kind of gets up and moves past and plops between Sire and you, and like grabs your arm. She like pulls it out.
What is she doing?
And she like taps it. Ding ding ding.
She likes to draw.
Ding ding ding. And pulls open her book, and you can see she's already making like a very detailed sketch of it. She's like, "How'd you turn it on?"
Well, here, let me turn it off first, and I just hold my hand out. Still.
Jumps back.
And then I do this.
For the next like 15 minutes, she's gonna want to watch it go out and in and out and in and out and in. And Shadow has finished cleaning her dagger, puts it in a little sheath on like the length of her thigh, and then from her back pulls out this like short sword. Sets it on her leg and begins polishing that. And as she polishes it for a second, puts the cloth down, puts up a small whetstone, just sets it down, cloth. So she whetstone cloth, whetstone cloth, whetstone cloth. Rotate, whetstone cloth. It's
Okay.
kind of annoying to watch how much like time she's putting into this.
So Corey's gonna ask Gadget, "You like to draw?" Then
Draw. I like to make stuff.
I do too.
Drawing is just how I visualize.
Me too.
Visualize.
One of my friends made these for me. He taught me a couple of things about how to work with metal.
It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
What did you teach you? I don't know, but press you for metal stuff unless you want to.
I don't know. No, but she's gonna ask, can I see your drawings? I'll let you see mine. Sure. She swaps. Most of them are just human studies. Or people studies of just different kinds of creatures and everything. And
She holds up one page. You know this guy a lot. Sorry, can you make a perception check?
Gosh dang it.
Nope.
8.
8. You're sitting on the other side when the sketchbook comes up, so just like, as you like try to appear, she brings the book down and turns the page.
Lucky.
That is one of my friends.
Mm-hmm. Switch to the next carriage. You 3 in Lash and Webs with Shout, who is now carving a new thing. It's just a block right now. You can't really tell what it is. Unless, anything you guys want to do on that character?
Mara looks
Gosh
finding
darn
them back.
perceptive kids.
Alright. Hopping over to Red.
Hey, Mask. Did you get that recipe for me? Did you forget?
Kind of like leverages his hands up and down, like.
It's a yes or no question. I won't be mad, I promise. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I just want the recipe. There's no rush as long as I get it before I leave.
You can see that River is enjoying his new lizard creature toy. And it's like, it's pretty big compared to the other ones.
Oh, what you got there?
Shout made it.
Do you know what it is?
No,
It's scary. It's pretty scary.
but it's small.
It looks scary.
Now, you might know what this is if you'd like to make a nature check.
I don't know what it is.
I was just saying.
My favorite thing,
Yeah,
instead of telling me the roll, you tell me the result. Favorite part of my job. Alright, as that part of the journey carries on pretty uneventfully, it's about mid-afternoon when the carriages stop again. Midnight hops off of his spot after looking into the carriage of, I think it's Corey and Sire in there. He's like, gotta be quiet now, okay? Just trust us. And he hops off of his, and he goes to all the other carriages and is like, everyone's gonna be quiet. Unsaddle the horses, stash the carriages in a normal spot. let's do this. As you guys begin getting out and maneuvering around a little bit, as everyone stopped talking and the motion of the carriages has died down, you start hearing the babbling of like a nearby stream, like a river, just this. And it masks pretty well the noise of taking up bridles silently, putting them inside the carriages. And as each horse is unsaddled, Lash will come up and put her hand on the head of the horse and lead it over to a spot. So all the horses are gathered. And then you watch as, one at a time, Longhorn picks up the front of each carriage and starts walking it over to where like some like little gathering of like stone and tree is. It's like moss covered a little bit. And he starts walking over there, Soldier and Sharp start lifting, and they pick up the rock. And there's like this little dugout hanger for the carriages, and Longhorn comes over and walks them down. And as Sharp and Soldier sit there, they're like sharing glances and like lifting a little bit higher than the other guy. He'll lift a little bit higher than them. And then Longhorn comes back out, and he gets the next carriage and takes it down underneath. And next to all four down. And those two, we wanted to help.
Can Sayre just pretty obviously be examining both of them while they're doing it?
Yeah, they're both pretty yoked.
Like,
the two,
clearly so that they can see her doing it.
just standing in front of them.
Yeah, just watching them.
Of the two, it's pretty obvious that Sharp is stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also taller.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't stop Soldier from trying. They slowly lower down the rock. And try to be as gentle as possible. And quiet, but it still just kind of shakes a little bit. As the group gathers again, there are about 8 horses. They take one horse, they give it to Lash, and to River, and they take another horse, and they give it over to Foot and Gadget, as it were. The rest all kind of like deny horses. They're already on foot. When you guys want to take horses.
Probably safer for us to stick together on foot.
Alright. Midnight kind of gathers that you all coming closer. Midnight like waves and he's like, alright. We've had call watching for about 15 minutes and he saw one patrol pass by, which means we have exactly 35 minutes until the next one passes. I'm going to ask you all, we've done this a lot. We know the pass to go through to Iron Rest. The problem is, the pass aren't big enough for all of us to move at the same speed. So what we gotta do is break off into groups. You'll all be fine if you stick together, but you can take one of the caravan to act as guide. The rest of us will split off and we'll meet up at Iron Rest. It might be about a day until you meet us again. And we'll wait there for 3 days. If everyone doesn't gather up, that's when we leave.
Okay.
Alright. Take your pick.
So we need to pick someone of the caravan to come with us.
What was the name of the tiefling lady?
Shadow.
Our cart?
Does she look like she's done this?
When you look over, Shadow's actually at the horse with Gidge and Foot, like, making care. Like, it's pretty obvious that she wants to be with the horse based on her behavior.
Okay. What about...
I mean, you can press, I just want to let you know, everyone has their own individual things.
Okay,
You
what
can take
about...
whatever you want.
What about Webb?
Webb is just kind of standing, just looking around, like, kind of stretching a little bit. Webb, bend it backwards.
I mean, I don't know them, but we hardly know anybody here, so anybody I think is a good guess.
Does Webb know the way?
Webb's been here with us longer than Call has, so I'd say yes.
Probably a good choice then.
Let's ask Webb to come.
Alright, I'll go get her. Now you guys get ready. And it turns to like the whole group as a whole. It's like, remember, we're headed to Iron Rest. We don't have much time to get past this part of our journey. It's about half a day's run. So, the rest of the day it'll take you to get there. Unless you get separated, there are other small villages and towns and whatnot that will act as small little places to rest. That's why we're going to wait for 3 days. Is that right, though, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
As long as we all get there, I think we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Is everyone fine with me getting wet?
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah.
And he walks off like very slowly, and he goes and he talks with her, and she kind of nods, looks at the rest of you. But as she looks at the group, her eyes kind of linger on Derelict for a second. Looks back to Midnight, makes like a little comment. Midnight shakes his head, nods, points back to the group, and Webb walks over to you guys. She is very, very thin, like the physique of like an acrobat sort of thing, just like thin and very limber as she walks. You can tell each step is very balanced and thought through, but through this incredibly practiced way. She walks up to you guys. She's like, "We're gonna take the river."
Okay.
Okay. You lead.
We can.
And she starts walking.
You swim? I can carry you if you'd like.
Oh, we've never tried.
We're not going to bet on it now.
So she's going to offer him her hand and just like, if he'll let her, just like lift her up onto her back.
Yeah.
Okay.
No hesitation.
So Cora has Wee on her back.
Alright.
Well, she says, when you say river, are we swimming?
Webb turns around and looks at you.
Walking.
No.
Oh, okay, good.
There's a dry
I'm
part.
still quicker.
The locals dammed part of the river so it could flow more towards theirs. Their settlement, as what Midnight calls it. But they left the dry part alone, which means we can use that. They don't check the dry part because they don't care.
Mm-hmm. I like this idea.
Okay, cool. Let's go. As the whole caravan comes closer together, you see that the horses are kind of gathered in one place, and the rest of the on foot, like Longhorn and Call and Midnight and the rest who are like with Sharp and stuff, they all gather up into one place, and the path continues. As you guys are walking forwards, Midnight like stops you every 50 or so feet. As you're in less of a forested area, more like the field, but with the occasional like heavy tree, you get closer to some meeting hills where the river that you heard before is passing through. As you can tell, the road still stretches around the hills on both sides. As you guys continue going forward, it's mid-ish day. The sun is past over noon, and you're moving quickly and quietly. And there's this heavy overcast that slowly moves over, a bit of shade. And as you guys keep going, Webb looks up, and is like, finally, some luck. She keeps running. You guys keep moving as a group. I'd like you all to make a group stealth check.
So, group stealth check, do we have one check? Or we all...
You all roll, and then
Roll
it's
so low.
pass or
the things I'm good at.
fail, whichever is the majority.
Did you get disadvantage with that? Me?
Mhm.
Yeah, of course I get disadvantage. I'm heavily armored.
That's how stuff works.
I rolled so bad.
Okay, we're going around the room. Start with our legs.
23.
22.
Okay.
You're on my back.
12.
Okay.
16.
16.
7.
16.
16. That
You
is-
rolled bad.
I rolled a 7.
You got a
If
16.
only we had a spell for something like this.
Yeah, well, Rin doesn't have it prepared, so.
Alright. You guys begin rushing across, and you start crossing over the open field, heading towards where the riverbed is. You can see a large part of the river continues, and then there's closer to you, and then further is the actual moving water of the river. You're like, wait, how are we supposed to cross in the dry part? It's not adding up in your head at first, and that's when the group splits. You watch as Midnight and the rest of his group start going upstream, and the horses begin to swim across. They like, enter the river and start crossing over it, and then Webb just quickly darts over to the edge of where the riverbed is. All those little stones are gathered up, small bits of debris and leaves and sticks, and she just jumps and falls into the riverbed. Looks back to you guys, waves you down, and starts running downstream.
Follow.
You
Up
do
the
the same?
dry
Yep.
river?
Quickly.
Yeah, the dry river.
Go.
Alright, you'll slide down into it, and as Webb runs, there is a series of stones at first that appear normal, but as you guys continue and are like paying attention and thinking, how's this going to work? It's a pretty low DC as a perception check, so I'm going to just tell you, there's an occasional red stone. It's like this red, like painted rock. And as you run past it, Webb reaches down and flips it over, so it's just regular on the side, like painted over. And she runs and flips over the next rock and the next rock until you see a larger boulder sort of wedged into the side of the riverbed with a bit of red painted on its side, so it's not visible from the upcovering traffic, as it were. She runs to it, it starts digging aside the smaller stones and starts pushing it, and it's not going well because she's little. She's pushing the stone. She looks at you guys and like,
I don't go and help.
Sire helps.
Alright, as much as you guys run up to help, please make strength checks or choose one of you to have advantage.
Ren runs up and helps too.
My strength is
Then
plus
it's
3.
non-natural
Mine's plus
20.
2. Well, he already rolled, so.
Well, if you're all rolling, then it's a pass-fail sort of thing.
Alrighty. Very nice. 17.
18.
Those of you who aren't helping, please make perception checks.
Ooh. It's always this side of the table versus that side of the table.
I know.
16.
Strong people.
23.
Yeah, I'm super not paying
What'd you
attention.
get?
6.
6. As you
Squeeze
two
on
who are
the
more
back.
trained of being extra cautious all the time, you start hearing a noise. This. As you guys, you push the stone over, there's a path that leads down under the riverbed. It's just got this damp waft of air. You see like little grass roots sticking out of the roof of the, like the tunnel going down, as well as like little worms like crawling over the wall to other parts. And this path is opened. You see Webb look up and look to the side and look at you guys. She's like, "What is that? Someone's coming." Horses. Oh no! She's like, "Go, go!" She starts shoving you
I
down
run
as you
over to
all
help.
hear now voices accompanying it. You're like, "Where's that sound coming from?" Like just like conversation going back between each other and Elvish and Dwarvish. It's so common as you start seeing horses come into view down the river bend, and you start seeing armored helmets on the horses and these red canopied saddles of these heavily armored individuals with patterns on their shields as they're now wearing it of a triangle with a staff, a sword, and a hammer.
How close are we to this entrance?
You're right at the entrance of this tunnel,
So,
and
like-
those guys are barely within
So,
visual
like, how
range.
much are we out from it? Like, are we all within like a
We're
little
still
5
pretty
foot
hidden.
cube from it?
You are all close enough to it. I want to say 5 foot cube, maybe like a 10 or 15, as you're still standing and some are listening and some are pushing it. So maybe about 10 foot from the stone tunnel.
Okay, we're just going to just kind of again do a little motion and that, sorry, like that. And where the rock was, just 5 feet out extends to kind of block us from the horsemen as an illusion.
As an illusion, just move the rock visually.
Like, not just move the rock, but make it so that, like, there's
oh, so
another
it, like
rock
it
blocking
covers.
it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So it's as if a bigger rock was you guys.
Yeah.
All right. As it takes place, Webb looks up. She's like, "Whatever this is, go now, go, go, go!" And she dives into the tunnel and starts just sprinting down it. It's a quick downward slope. You can feel with like the intensity of it, you're going underneath the river. And you guys continue this path. It's like it's handmade out of like moist soil. There's lots of clumps of dirt hung together and grabbing onto small bits of roots. You hear lots of little beetles and bugs like skittering on the sides. You guys continue running, and you start hearing voices. You start running for about 5 minutes. You're going through this, and you start feeling the tunnel start to go up, and that's when shouting start building up, and you see little bits of torchlight lit behind you as you guys begin rushing down this tunnel. The road splits left and right, one to each direction. Webb looks behind you, looks, and darts into the left path, and just starts running. As you continue to follow her, you feel the path begin to build upwards, and that's when you hear and stabbing into the side of this moist earth is an arrow shaft sticking out about 10 or 15 feet behind you guys. You start hearing the voices louder. They're there! They're over there! You start hearing the metal clanging on each other, and that's when you see the torches come into view. Webb turns around, looks at Derelict, and says, "Ah!" and runs behind, just keeping going. As you guys charge, as she just sprints away.
This entire time, just once the torches like have appeared in that arrow and whatnot, we're just going to like do again the same thing, just put like walls of dirt just to try to slow them down, make them think that there's a problem.
Ren's also grabbing any arrows he can.
That is just the one.
Just
You
the
guys
one?
Continue charging forward. You get to like a block in the path, and Webb starts pushing her shoulder against it. She's like, "We gotta move this. This is the way out."
Sire helps.
Yep.
Everyone helps.
As you guys all put your hands to start moving it, the soldiers start coming into view, and you see 2 of them ready arrows.
And I
That's
should
where we're gonna end for the
fireball.
night.
Ah!
Dang it!
No, can we get next time starting initiative?
We're gonna die.
Ah.
Again.
Thanks for viewing. We'll be back next week to see who lives and who dies, part 2. Thanks for joining us. All of that. Thanks for the support. Give us a like, subscribe, comment, all that. Share it with your friends. Thanks for joining us.
What's up, everyone? It's Jenica. Like we said, thank you for watching, listening, and all around participating with us on this crazy journey called Heroes of Hearth-Gate. We'll be back at the table soon. We'll hope you join us there. See you then.